WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. You're in the fast lane, coming to you live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
Let's get nasty on a Friday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Bradford Bruns pinch hitting for our guy Marshy and Donnie Fandango of our sister station 105.7 The Point. Donnie's in for both Carey and Jamie. And Donnie, I got to tell you, I'm absolutely fired up that you're in.
Listen, I love to talk sports. And so, sort of getting paid in which to do it, I'm completely down for it today. But I do want to say this. I am currently, as we speak, also, I have a recorded show on 106.5 The Arch. So I'm up against myself.
Yeah.
I wonder how I'll do on the ratings.
I think you'll do quite well. Either way, Donnie wins today. Yeah. We appreciate you joining us. 202, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We got a lot to get to today. Cardinals, Mizzou, some Blues. I think, Donnie, we're going to do some Blues cues with you.
I love it.
So if you listen to the Last Minute Blues podcast, which is run by Donnie Fandango and our guy Alex Ferrario, you can throw out some Blues-related questions for Donnie, and he'll kind of sub in for Jamie today. So it's going to be... Because then I heard you again, like Monday afternoon or whatever. I'm like, this makes more sense. So it was you. So I have tremendous respect for Donnie. What your game first and foremost. I know how hard you work.
Thank you, man.
But you're incredibly talented. And since I've got to know you, now that you guys, obviously, and it's going on several years now, but since the Point joined Hubbard, man, unbelievable dude. Love what you do for the Ronald McDonald House. So much respect for it, Don. I'm fired up about today.
Thank you. Just as a sports fan, this is a dream. Like I love talking about music, but this is like not a vacation day for me.
No, I get you.
But in a way, it kind of is.
It's
so
fun.
I'm stoked. I really appreciate being here, and I'm really thankful to join you and to get the opportunity to talk sports like I know what I'm talking about.
You do. You absolutely do. So I wanted to start here. We got to cover the I guess the breaking news, so to speak, and this kind of feeds into what Donnie, I was going to ask you about first. So as we know now, you heard T-Bone and Ferrario talk about it. Jordan Walker's back up. Tommy Pham has been designated for assignment. He's been waived. He's done. Okay. No surprise, because we knew Tommy Pham was no longer going to be a Cardinal yesterday. This corresponding move does make sense. I threw it out yesterday to those guys, though, to Jamie and to Marshall. I'll do it with you guys. Why the hell would you pick up Tommy Pham in that Eric Fetty deal,
right,
to hit against lefties, also bring up Jordan Walker for a short period of time, bat him against lefties and only lefties, and mostly sit him on the bench, send him back down, and then designate Tommy Pham for assignment after Pham really didn't do anything, and then bring Walker? Like, what the Cardinals are doing doesn't... Normally, I like to be the contrarian, where I'm like, okay, if everybody's like, this move is dumb, let me see if I can kind of parcel it. Yeah, make sense of it, right? All right, they made a decision. It's an opinion, and in some respect, there's got to be some thought behind it. I don't know why they didn't just give Jordan Walker all of those ABs after getting Tommy Pham.
Well, first and foremost, they should have.
Yeah.
But I thought that at that particular time that they got Tommy Pham also because they were still on the cusp of being in the race, and so that it was sort of another guy to maybe come in and help out with the locker room and that sort of thing. But still, with the way that this has been and the way the season is going and all of the things that you have said about Jordan Walker's talent, why are we not giving him the keys of the car and letting him go? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, Stalter simply put, you had to add another veteran presence because Brandon Crawford, yes, he was on the team at that time. You had Matt Carpenter. You needed another veteran. But in all seriousness, the Cardinals
needed that veteran voice, Bradford.
Another one. Yeah. Yet another who had already been here. But
same locker room as Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, by the way.
Maybe they're not as voracious when it comes to being just out there and communicative.
We'll get to Nolan. Some interesting comments from him.
At that point in time, the Cardinals were still fluctuating, wavering, whatever you would like to use, whatever your preferred verb is in that realm. More competitive. The prospects were better there with the on-field result in terms of how many teams you had to chase down for a would-be wildcard spot. I still wasn't buying weeks ago, gentlemen, that argument or the point that you very well had an opportunity even then to chase down Milwaukee. And let's not make any mistake about it. Over the last few weeks, the Brewers have, yes, displayed some warts with respect to the starting rotation. I still don't know how they are patching together that staff. I really don't. Devin Williams has even been human at the back end of the bullpen. But Milwaukee, you had ample opportunities. You won 2 games here at Busch Stadium, but it was a case last week, guys, of too little too late. And trying to spin it forward a little more here, in the here and now, and we will get to the lineup game momentarily, but Jordan Walker, he's recalled. Tommy Pham, goodbye for the second time. If this is simply an instance of this front office, the manager in particular, repeating the execution or the sequence of events that we just saw the last time around before unceremoniously shipping Walker right back down to Memphis. You tell me what is different now, Stoltz, as opposed to a few weeks ago, because I'm looking at the Cardinals list of upcoming opponents, and I can tell you in the course of the next week, all these tough matchups, going to the Bronx tonight, opening up the series versus New York, you have specifically one left-handed presence on the mound for the next week. That's Cortez on Sunday of the Yankees. And then you match up against Peralta, etc., once again with the Brewers, and you have the stud righties from Seattle. Are they going to approach this differently and allow Walker to actually hit right-handed pitching, which, mind you, he has done better to a degree so far in his professional career? Or are we just going back to the same, well, oh, he's a right-handed hitter. Oh, let's see what he does against the southpaws. There are none coming up.
See, this is why all of us Cardinal fans are always pissed off. Like this, I mean, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
This guy is supposed to be a transitional sort of talent. You're going to build the organization around him, and then you're going to bring him up, and you're going to platoon him. What?
Right.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And hopefully that's not going to be the case. You know, to Bradford's main point, that's not going to be the case this time around, just because it got so much criticism before.
Right.
It didn't really work. You're trying to evaluate hitters. The best way to evaluate anybody, Donnie, in my opinion, is give them reps.
You let them play.
Yeah.
You figure out what you have.
Exactly. So is the lineup out? Not yet. All right. We will play the lineup game at some point. But I wanted to ask you, Donnie, because sometimes we as hosts, when you're covering the team constantly, you know, we do a 4-hour show. It's a lot of content that we're producing. And a lot of times, look, we repeat ourselves because it's baseball and it's supposed to be a marathon, but we're trying to, you know, just break down some of the bigger topics. But I want to know from you, because you're a fan. Like, you are a passionate fan.
Yeah.
You told us before the show about being in second grade and your teacher knowing how big of a Cardinals fan you were. Anytime that, you know, she went to the game, she would show you the program and all that. So it really grew from what a lot of Cardinals fandom grew from their parents, their grandparents, their siblings, what have you. How do you feel about this team? Are you apathetic? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you confused?
I'm all of those things, man.
So you're par for the course too.
There's a few things. First of all, and I love my Bills football and I love my Blues hockey, but there was a 25-year time in my life where there was nothing on the earth that I loved more than Cardinal baseball. I was I would get nervous the first week of spring training because I was so excited about pitchers and catchers reporting and all of those sorts of things. And I don't believe that I have watched a Cardinal game in a solid month. It might be longer than that. I don't even try to flip it on and kind of see what's going on.
Yeah.
I just really I don't understand what is exactly going on down there. I feel as though, and I know that this isn't entirely fair, but I feel as though that for the last couple of years, the draw is to get people downtown around Busch Stadium to spend money at Ballpark Village and places around there. And that was more of the focus than necessarily, you know, working on that team. And I don't know where it's all gone sideways, but I am at a point in my Cardinal fandom where I didn't think that I would ever be. I honestly want them to tear it all down and start completely over. I understand completely what that means as far as time frame goes, as far as it's going to be a while, as far as you might not get it right. I understand that, but whatever is going on right now is clearly not working on virtually almost every level, and we got to figure it out. And we got to figure it out now. And I can't go another year of of the same thing. I just can't. And you know what? I won't. You know, I haven't paid to go to a game in over a year, and I won't. There's no way that with my family, the way that our finances are structured right now, that if we're going to have a night out, that we are going to go and choose to spend our money there. It's just not going to happen, man. And I hate that, and I hate that I'm being this way, but it's just...
But it would change if you had some sort of... If you felt like there was direction, if you felt like there was hope, even the team. See, I think some Cardinals fans, or maybe even the organization, doesn't realize that as long as you have some sort of vision and direction, people will show up.
Yeah,
like the Blues this year. Blues haven't made the playoffs in the last 2 years, but there's vision, there's direction, there's I see what you're doing. Let me support the team.
I feel like with Mo and with Gersh and with this Cardinals front office, that it's sort of a look what we're doing when they're actually not really doing anything.
Right.
And I feel as though Doug Armstrong has said this entire time through this rebuild, retool, whatever, hey, this might not be pretty. This is where we think we're going to be, and I respect that so much. But I cannot, as a Cardinal fan, and I just won't do another year of the Ali Marmol, John Mozeliak, whatever the hell is going on right now, Michael Gersh. I'm out.
Donnie, this is the Cardinals build a roster like I do handyman stuff around the house. I tell Kristen, listen, I got that. That's no problem. And at first, it looks fine, right? And then like the first rain hits and you realize, I don't know what I'm doing. It looks like crap. Right. It's like, I didn't actually fix the issue. I just Band-Aided over it. But I want her to tell me, man, you did great. Like, that's what the Cardinals. Hey, didn't we do good? We got a couple pitchers for you last year.
Right.
Yeah, those two of them guys suck. Like, you're not fixing the problem.
And I first of all, I appreciate the fact that I grew up, or my formative years in St. Louis, the Cardinals won a lot, and it won a lot more than anybody else. And I tried not to take that for granted, and I tried to appreciate that and understand as things got rough, hey, this is how baseball works in other cities.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, it's not always you challenging for a playoff spot or for a World Series, what have you. But it just got to the point, man, where I didn't understand the moves they were making. The team, to me, for the last couple of years, and what's crazy is they have Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, and I can't believe what I'm about to say this. I find the team to be very unlikable. Like,
at best, boring.
Very much so, and it should not be this way. And so I'm out. And also at the same time that, you know, the Cardinals have been doing this. You know, things in Buffalo for my Bills have been pretty good. Mm-hmm. The Blues are always just something that, you know, man, they could be really, really bad, and I'm still going to be very invested in that because, again, I feel as though the organization is telling us what's going on. Right. So, like, I have just sort of replaced that Cardinal love with other things. But also, too, it's not just the Cardinals. It's baseball as a whole. And I know that I'm going to sound like a 1,000-year-old guy here, but, like, I am not crazy about interleague. I don't like the designated hitter in the National League. It's just kind of, you know, some of the reasons that I loved it, that, you know, like the uniqueness of being in the National League market, they kind of took that away, and I really liked that part of it, you know? So there's just, it is the Cardinals, but also baseball as a whole is just something that I'm not as, you know, as tuned into as I was before.
That's Donnie Fandanger. You can listen to him each and every day on The Point and The Arch.
Yes, sir.
And they're both our sister stations. In fact, if you flip over to The Arch now, go check out whatever Donnie's doing over there.
Probably Bon Jovi.
I always hate, too, when it's like, all right, we're going to play some oldies, and it's like the stuff I listened to in the 90s. Like, oh, damn. It's old now.
That's a sobering realization.
It really is.
Well, when you're going to see Green Day do the album Dookie in its entirety to celebrate 30 years.
That's my first album.
Yeah, there you go. We're old.
That's my first album.
Yeah.
And it's not even a CD, you know. It was the CD. It was you get the little stickers, you know, that came in or stamps or whatever that came in the mails, the CD warehouse, whatever.
Columbia House.
Yeah.
I still owe them thousands of dollars.
Oh, sure. I think they probably went under like 30 years ago, probably. Right. All right, it's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Donnie and Bradford in for the guys. I'm Anthony Stalter. We do have a lineup for tonight. Donnie, this is your first lineup game.
Yes.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, and I'm completely detached from the Cardinals, so this is going to be awful.
This is going to be good. You could be like Ronnie Belliard. No, Donnie, that's a miss. All right, lineup game next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Cards win behind another strong outing by number 0. This is Bradford Bruns with your Redbird reports. Mere hours after scoring the game-winning run Wednesday, rookie Mason Wynn again found himself in the thick of matters versus visiting San Diego. The shortstop swatted a solo homer, series finale style, as St. Louis snagged a 4-1 victory, plus that all-important split. Wynn went 9 for 17 across the just completed set, and he figures to be heavily involved tonight against Marcus Stroman's Yankees. First pitch set for 6:05. Ali Marmol, meanwhile, rolls with Eric Fetty, who is 8-7 overall. Sonny Gray's 6th-inning turn about 16 hours ago should ensure a largely rested relief corps. Ryan Helsley, though, did throw 31 pitches over STL's last 2 contests.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen. Start your mornings with the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Get in the know first on everything St. Louis sports with Brooke Grimsley, Dan McLaughlin, and Randy Carricker. The opening drive, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 101 ESPN.
The opening drive is presented by Sumner One.
This is the Fast Lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN.
All right, time to play lineup game. This is Donnie Fandango, who's filling in for. I'm not Donnie. I'm Anthony.
I'm Donnie.
That's Donnie.
Yeah, thanks, man.
But this will be Donnie Fandango's first lineup game, and before we were prepping, and we say, "Hey, Donnie, have you played the lineup game before?" And you're like, "You're gonna have to refresh because you're on air." You're either on air or you're at home, whatever. I know you listen, but
yeah. And at this time of the afternoon is normally when I am like taking my kids here, there,
Sure.
and everywhere post school. You know what I'm saying?
I know you've heard the lineup game before, but we were kind of breaking down. All right, we gotta guess what Ollie's gonna do, and at this time of year, it's kind of fun if you like chaos.
Yeah.
So we got just one rule. We have to say, show us. That's it. It's kind of like Jeopardy in that way. You got to activate it. So,
Okay.
for example, Bradford, show us Mason Wynn.
I'm watching the Futures game, and this thing's all over Instagram. It's like, this guy threw a ball 100 across the time. That's awesome, but, like, how many throwing errors does he have?
Shut up! That's that douchebag from the Dodgers, isn't it?
It's Justin Turner.
Justin Turner.
Yeah. Now with the Blue Jays, but with the long time with the Dodgers.
Yeah, D-bag still.
There's a real Arizona Diamondback. that guy is.
Not a fan.
All right, so we're 1 for 1. Now this is typically. Do you want to take your stab here? Because I don't want to ruin things.
No. I'm gonna take a shot. So what do I got to say at the end?
So you just say show us and then the name.
Right. So in the 2-hole, what about Alex Burleson? Show us.
Kind of closed my eyes and swung at it and did what I wanted to do.
Bully to the rescue!
You're 1 for 1.
That'll probably be the only one that I get, but I'll take it.
I think you're going to nail this whole lineup. In fact, I'm going to take the rest of the segment off. All right,
That's a bad idea, man.
25 minutes when I come back, and you're referencing just favorite Cardinals instead of guys that are on the team.
Don't do that. No.
All right, so this has been Arenado. This has been all kinds of people. I do think though at 3 it's going to be Nolan Arenado. Show us. Nolan Arenado.
He's a Gold Glove winner and perennial All-Star.
Oh, listen to Mr. Gold Glove over here. Come on.
I shouldn't ruin it. Have you heard these? The drops?
No.
Okay, I should shut up then. They're kind of funny.
Okay. I think I've even got number 4.
Okay.
Seriously. Luke and Baker.
Ooh.
Show us.
That's all right. The cleanup spot's been tough. He has been hitting in the cleanup spot, I think, the last 4 or 5 games.
Well, when you see that guy on TV, you go, that's the only thing that he could do.
Right. He mashes home runs. So.
Right.
Yep. All right, so we know that Walker's up. I highly doubt this is Walker. He could move Goldschmidt back up, but it's unlikely. We've seen Lars here before, and we've also seen Brendan Donovan.
Probably go Lars.
He has gone righty-lefty before. You want to go Lars?
I said we go Lars.
Go for it.
Show us Lars. Dang it.
Show us Brendan Donovan.
Donnie.
Hey, this headband's pretty cool.
That's for Jamie Rivers. Jamie hates Brendan Donovan in the cleanup spot because he's not a prototypical cleanup guy, obviously.
I think at this point, whatever the Cardinals can do to do anything, we'll take it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you mean like score runs and stuff?
I mean, it'd be great, ideally.
Sure. It'd be nice to see. All right, so we're at 5 now. So theoretically, we've got a second baseman, we've got a third baseman, we've got our shortstop, obviously. Burleson's been in left. So 5, this could be Yvonne Herrera behind the dish.
Or is it Goldie?
It could be Goldie. It could be, I think it's a right-hander, so my guess would be Herrera or Goldie.
I'm going Goldie.
Go for it.
Show us Goldie.
Gold!
Nice.
Rich with gold! Gold!
I'll be honest. I was thinking that was going to be Herrera, so I'm glad we went with you. All right, so now we got our first baseman here. So we still need a DH, catcher, right fielder, center fielder to complete our lineup. I would think that this would be Newt in right field.
Absolutely so. Yeah.
Show us.
Newt.
There you go.
What makes you think she's a witch?
Well, she turned me into a newt.
A newt.
Got better.
All right, so 7.
Here's where you go Herrera, right?
So I was actually thinking Walker at 7.
Oh, all right. Bringing him back up, putting him right in the lineup. That's a good idea.
Now, that's what I would do.
So that's probably not
the case. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I do think. So I think that this is Walker, and Walker winds up being the DH.
All right.
That's my guess.
Show us Walker.
What's his angle?
Nice.
What angle? Launch!
Launching now.
Okay. So if I'm right on that, we still need a catcher and a center fielder. This would probably be your catcher, and then it would be Victor Scott at 9 because he's been hitting 9. That would be my guess.
So then we'll go, show us Herrera. Oh, no Herrera.
Show us Pedro Paez.
There we go.
It's either one or the other. You eliminated the one. All right.
I haven't watched in a while. Can our catchers throw anybody out?
No.
No, okay.
Nope. That's still 100% not true. What I said was true. Your question, not true. All right, you can wrap it up here. Victor Scott.
All right, here we go. Victor Scott, show us.
Great Scott.
Here we go. Donnie, not bad, man. I mean,
all right.
Not bad.
I mean, I seriously have not watched a game in a month, so I feel
That's
pretty good
impressive.
about that. It's all right.
The Burleson one, Goldie, I liked it a lot. All right.
Did way better than I thought it would.
You did. You crushed it. Bradford, go ahead and run that thing.
Commendable work, Donnie. Here we go from the very top. Mason Wynn playing shortstop, your leadoff hitter in the Bronx. He is followed by Alec Burleson, your DH, the 3-hole hitter. Nolan Arenado. is at the hot corner. Brendan Donovan batting cleanup and playing second base. Your first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, in the 5-hole. And then it's Lars Nootbaar, left fielder, hitting 6th. Hitting 7th and manning right field, Jordan Walker. Pedro Bajes back behind the plate. And rounding it out, the fleet-footed center fielder, Victor Scott, the second.
Did you say left for Newt?
Correct.
Okay.
Stay fair! Go foul!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Home run.
All right, so those guys being Carey, Marsh, and Jamie, they've been great with the home run derby. Mm-hmm. They hit a couple of guys. So if you take somebody off the bench and he winds up hitting a pinch hit home run, you get 10 points.
Oh, wow.
The 3 of them have hit pinch hit home runs. I have not.
Oh, wow.
So I've been left in the dust.
Yeah, it's probably because they're guessing and you're trying to use logic. That's what my guess is.
And I'm awful at it. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
at least you can admit it.
Yeah. I can, one thing I am is self-aware.
That's right.
All right, so I'm trying to look to see if they gave us some. They did. All right, so let's see. Jamie Rivers is taking Alec Burleson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the other guys didn't say anything. Oh, Matt Carpenter is Carey's guy.
Oh,
so
wow.
Matt Carpenter off the bench for Carey. He's going for 10 points. That's worth 10 points. So Alec Burleson's off the board, and so is Matt Carpenter. I don't know who Marshy took, so why don't we give Marsh a nice, safe Paul Goldschmidt, because that's only worth 1 point.
Okay.
All right. So, Donnie, who would you like?
I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to go Newt. I think I'm going to go Nootbaar.
Donnie's taking Newt.
Yeah.
Bradford?
For kicks and giggles, let's go with none other than Mason Wynn. He had a torrid stretch against the Padres. He is red hot again, and I think we'll get into it a bit more as the show progresses. But, guys, if there is one player on this roster right now who is poised to go into the Bronx, into Yankee Stadium tonight, and really flourish under that spotlight, I like that guy to be Mason Wynn. Power up, maybe hit a hanger from Stroman, go yard.
There you go.
I like it. He's getting me excited. I might actually watch this a little bit tonight.
Pump it up.
Whoa, wait. Is it going to be another one of those Apple TV games? Because I don't have that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think it's on Apple tonight. I think because weren't they on Apple last Friday?
Yes, against Minnesota.
That's another thing I love is
I know it's brutal,
searching all over the place to try to find my team.
It's fun. Yeah,
good times.
You got to buy this app. Really? Because I've already had 42 of these. Padres and Rays are your Apple TV Plus game tonight. Cardinals and Yankees are on your Bally Sports Midwest. All right, I'm going to take Donovan. He's a 3-pointer. Maybe you get one. You get the jet stream out there in right center at Yankee Stadium. Maybe he catches one. That's a 3-pointer. I'll take Donnie. All right. There's your lineup game, and there is your home run derby. So last night, Mizzou opened up its season against Murray State, and all things right in the world for the Tigers. They blew them out. They should have blown them out, even though they're a substandard opponent. What did we learn from the Mizzou game? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Join 101 ESPN for the second annual Blues and Brews on Friday, September 20th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from country music star Matt Stell and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, 101 giveaways, and more. Tickets are on sale now for Blues and Brews presented by Bud Light, 101 ESPN, and 92.3 WIL. Get all the details for Blues and Brews at 101ESPN.com.
Don't settle for normal when you deserve to feel exceptional. At Mentality Men's Health, we've consulted over 23,000 men who were told their testosterone levels were, quote, normal, despite feeling anything but. Remember, normal ranges can be as varied as the difference between an 18-year-old and a 90-year-old man. If fatigue, weight gain, or a lost drive have become your new normal, stop. Go to our website, schedule an appointment with Mentality today for a second opinion that could change your life. Join the thousands of men who found their true normal with us. Schedule in St. Louis at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you don't need the biggest law firm. You need the best. Onder Law, voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis, is the insurance company playing games, trying to deny the medical treatment you need, refusing to pay your lost wages. Let Onder Law fight for the benefits you deserve. Injured on the job? Call Onder Law for free. 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9, all zeros.
.101 ESPN Sports Center.
Yeah, good over rings.
Redbirds enter a New York state of mind. I'm Bradford Bruns with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Tonight at 6:05, St. Louis aims to capture its third straight victory. Aaron Boone's Yankees will host Eric Fetty and company. The Cards righty is angling for his second win since coming over from Chicago. Number 12 faces off against Marcus Stroman, who most recently surrendered 3 runs against Colorado. Gridiron Mizzou pulverizes Murray State 51-0. Luther Burden hits pay dirt right away, but that defense really has Eli Drinkwitz pumped.
For the home opener, first time we've held a team to under 100 yards since 2019. Corey Batoon, can't say how good of a job he did tonight.
The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Corey Batoon, can't say how good of a job he did tonight. And then, at halftime, I really challenged our players when we were going to sub people out to play to a standard and not get complacent, and was really, really proud of those guys. Got a lot of different people in the game. Man, that last drive, I think, other than Philip Roche, it was all freshmen on the field. And, man, that is going to be one heck of a defense in the future. Really proud of those guys, and thought they came in and played to a standard.
So that was Eli Drinkwitz, head coach for Missouri, and he's talking about having a lot of the freshmen in last night in the fourth quarter. And, yeah, that's what you want, Donnie. Donnie Fandango filling in for Jamie Rivers and for Carey Davis. Our guy, Bradford Bruns, a Mizzou grad, somebody who was there last night at Faurot Field to take in Mizzou. I mean, yeah, you want to make sure the freshmen are in the fourth quarter in the second half against Murray State. Because if not, and Brady Cook is still in the fourth quarter, boy, something went horribly wrong.
Absolutely so. I think my biggest thing about this Mizzou team, and you guys can tell me, I've been a Mizzou guy on the fringe my whole life. Mm-hmm. Is this real?
Is this real life?
You know what I mean? The 11th in the country. You seemingly have, you've got top-notch players on both sides of the ball. Can they really challenge for a national championship?
Well, that's the thing. The easy answer to that, Donnie, is this season, if you have those aspirations, if you have those prospects with the expanded playoff, and that's to take nothing away from where Mizzou could ultimately finish, all you have to do All you have to do right now is finish in the top 12. And given all of the returning leadership, the bona fides, and especially Stalter at the skill positions, very few reputable programs in the entire country are bringing back as much at the key positions as Mizzou. And I think lost in the shuffle, and there's so much fervor and excitement there should be about Brady Cook and Luther Burden. And last night, it's not as if you're going to build those respective Heisman candidacies against the likes of Murray State. You knew that Brady Cook, in all likelihood, you want to get a solid half out of him, and he missed on a lot of throws. Those connections with Marquise Johnson, with Mookie Cooper, they're going to get better. Luther Burden, you didn't need him to do more than the 3 catches for 39 yards. But what I really love about this team, especially when we fast forward in a month or so and get to the SEC, the meat of that schedule, it has an offensive line and potentially a D-line as well up front to be able to win at the proverbial point of attack. Now, last night, you had quite a few infractions, especially in the second half, even 2 in the first half from your brand new left guard, Caden Green, the star transfer from Oklahoma. But Anthony, on that right side, the continuity that you've got from, of course, Tolliver and then Cameron Johnson and Armand Mimbu, there is a reason as to why last season this unit was recognized as a Joe Moore Award finalist. And I think it consistently gets shortchanged because it's more fun to talk about the aerial attacks. It's more fun to talk even about the new running back options that could replace some of the production offered by a Cody Schrader. But the key to Mizzou's success when you eventually run into Texas A&M and later OU, Arkansas, you're preparing for bowl season, is to be able to run the ball consistently when the weather worsens and protect that pocket for Cook. Everything revolves around that.
Absolutely. So the reason why Colorado, is going to probably flatline again at some point under Deion Sanders, who I love, but I know he's grown, under a lot of people's skin, is that they're going to lose in the trenches. They're going to get beat up in the trenches. They don't have the O-line. They don't have the D-line. So, Bradford, what you just said about the offensive line, that's what I was keyed on last night. You're right. Brady Cook was not sharp. There's a couple of good throws. I like the ball placement on some of the throws, especially outside the numbers. Yeah. But you're right. He missed on a couple of those. You're going to get those ironed out at some point. But if you saw the way, and I know that Noel and Carroll, the 2 running backs who came in to replace Cody Schrader, they look good. Like Carroll's a big boy. Like he can motor. I love the combination of those 2. But if you saw the way that the interior line and even Membu, who's one of the most athletic right tackles in the nation, got to the second level, whitewashed a lot of those linebackers, wiped them out of there. Like, that's the stuff. It is Murray State. Full stop on that. But that running game, I thought, looked pretty good.
Well, and also, too, it seems as though Mizzou teams in the past, while they have been very good and have had star players, it has not been, to me at least, a situation where you could win in the trenches like that, where you could win games in
like finesse
and fights,
yes.
Like sort of a fight kind of way. And that to me is like, that's exciting. That's great football.
It's a good point. And even going back to the late 2000s and the Chase Daniel glory days when you had Macklin out wide and you had threats all over the field, I would venture to say that the setup there, the emphasis on winning up front, wasn't quite emphasized in the same way that these guys right now can actually do that. You would spread guys out. You had more arguably explosiveness, but the timing, the structure right now that is in place from Kirby Moore, all of that is in a very, very good place. And also, to wit, last night, you understand that, it looks great, the final score, you're shutting out Murray State. Take from that what you will, but I am looking at a relatively inexperienced front 7 to some extent, okay? And you pitch the shutout, you limit this team to under 100 yards, and being able to get into the opposing backfield and to get that penetration in waves, if there's one aspect, there are 2 actually on defense right now, that I would look into, zero in on and say, okay, can these really be refined in the second half of the season? Number 1, interior defensive line. Chris McClellan, he made his presence known. The Florida transfer last night. He has to be one of those 2 mainstays right up front in the middle and in the secondary too. Think about how many guys you lost to the NFL. Rakestraw, Chris Abrams-Drain, and what happens within 7 minutes of last night's contest? You have your signature defensive play of the night. It is Toriano Pride Jr. coming from Clemson, the St. Louis product. He jumps the route. He takes it to the house for the pick 6. That sets the tone for the duration of the evening. And even during fall camp, near the end, when Eli Drinkwitz was getting into perhaps some questionable areas, he feels very strongly about the secondary, about the safety, the boundary safety position, and Marvin Burks Jr. But other guys other than Pry Jr. are going to have to step up at corner. You love these opportunities to really be aggressive, take some risks, go after it against this FCS level competition, because that is going to sharpen those instincts when the real aerial attacks come out in a few weeks.
Well, I love too, and great breakdown, Bradford. I love that. Even though it's Murray State, I'll tell you why it matters. 35-10 last year. That was the score against South Dakota, and it wasn't. They won by 25.
It didn't feel like
it. Exactly. Yeah. So you go back to South Dakota last year. You go back to Middle Tennessee, who really hung with you at the Dome, 23-19. That is why last night matters. Murray State, you can't sit here and say, well, we're going to eval on Murray State. It's just. You're evaluating against a completely different program, obviously on a much lower level. But last year you had the same opportunity, and you looked not sharp, not focused, weren't explosive, any of that. I know Burden dropped it, but I'm glad, and he wanted to be in a fumble. Yeah, but I'm cool with the play design where they had the three offensive linemen lined up out wide, and they were trying the jet sweep there to Burden. Didn't work. Don't understand it. Don't understand the play concept. But I'm like, I'm cool with it, because last year they did nothing. I mean, it was nothing until Kansas State, and maybe it was by design. But Brady Cook didn't really look sharp until October last year. I'd rather not look sharp in a 51-0 beatdown where your running game got going than what we saw last year.
It's also crazy to me talking about a player that transfers from Clemson to Mizzou.
Yeah,
it's
a new era, baby.
It is a new era. That's awesome.
That goes to your question.
Yeah, and coming back home, how many times have I heard in just the last couple of years alone, there really is a lot to be said for not only the contributions of Luther Burden III on the field, but in terms of trying to cultivate that attitude and making MU a destination, a Midwestern destination, and a national destination at that. He set the tone. He made the decision. And even after having a freshman season at Mizzou, in this crazy Wild West-esque climate that we have with NIL, he very easily, if he were not that true son, so goes the saying, of Mizzou, he could have jumped ship to another institution, picked up that much more in NIL, right? No, but he has been, they're recognizing it first. Maybe the grass isn't greener at Georgia, at Alabama. But at Mizzou right now, I can immediately step in, and this is very important as well. This coaching staff develops NFL talent. Talked to Johnny Walker Jr. just a couple of weeks ago, regarded as a top prospect, potentially could follow in the footsteps of Darius Robinson Jr., drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. What did he stress? This is a staff, defensively, offensively, the leadership structure in place by the head coach, Eli Drinkwitz. They are preparing guys actively for the next level. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get the benefit. That's where you get the buy-in.
I always found it somewhat disturbing when Ezekiel Elliott, who, of course, from here, chose Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I always found it kind of disturbing when people were saying, like, they were almost picking on him and saying, why don't you just go to Mizzou? And all? You can go anywhere you want, kid. That's your future. And obviously, Zeke he did great at Ohio State. He's done quite well for himself. Kid's a stud.
Yeah.
But I love when a local product like Burden does decide, I'm going to stay at Mizzou.
I think
it's fantastic.
And it's working.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not just...
It's working for everybody. It's working for the kid. It's working for the program. It's great.
That's fantastic.
I probably shouldn't call him a kid. He's a multimillionaire now.
Absolutely, in his early 20s. Also, too, though, listening to you talk about Mizzou has gotten me pumped.
There you go.
This is awesome.
So in a month, they'll actually start playing people. Not a shot. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while before we can really do the evaluation. But to your point, man, it's an exciting era of Mizzou football.
And it gives you time to tighten up the screws and do all the things that you need to do.
That's Donnie Fandango. That is Bradford Bruns. Speaking of Bradford, he's got what's trending and an absolutely tragic story out of the National Hockey League this morning. We'll tell you the latest on that next on 101 ESPN.
College football is back on ESPN this Sunday. LSU and USC pregame at 6, kickoff at 6:30. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN.
Hey, now it's your last chance. This weekend, head out to Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum so you can take advantage of their lowest prices of 2024. It's their summer heat wave sale, but it does end at the end of August. It's August 31st. So as you know, this weekend, well, we're going to flip to September. So get out there. in Herculaneum. Check out the over 700 vehicles that they have all in one location. They've got cars, trucks, SUVs, new Nissans, pre-owned vehicles. They've got it all. First-time buyers or anybody with any sort of credit challenges, you have options when it comes to financing. They've got the perfect deal regardless of your situation. They have select new Nissans, too, with rates as low as 0% APR and for terms as low as 84, as long as 84 months. Slow down, Stalter. Save big on select new Nissans as well. Their lowest prices, as I mentioned before, in 2024. Qualified buyers can take advantage of no money down plus take a break from their car payment for 3 months as well. As always, at Auto Centers Nissan, 30-day new car return promise, complimentary lifetime warranty on new Nissans and eligible used vehicles, complimentary 1-year maintenance on new Nissan purchases. Stop waiting, saying, I'll get down there eventually in the month of August. It is the end of August. Take advantage of Auto Centers Nissan's best prices in 2024. Tell them Stalter sent you. Again, it's Auto Centers Nissan.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at renofi.com/notices. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Two pros and one average show. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling. It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
It is time for What's Trending Now on the Fast Lane 101 ESPN. Bradford Bruns, Anthony Stalter, Donnie Fandango with you on this afternoon. Plenty of Cards talk. Jordan Walker developments to center on in about 10 or so minutes. But gentlemen, we begin with tragic news from the National Hockey League, the hockey community in general, as just this morning, New Jersey State Police released a statement. There was speculation. There were initial reports and conjecture happening and popping up all over social media late last night, but it is confirmed. Blue Jackets winger Johnny Gaudreau, as well as his brother Matthew, they were killed on Thursday as they were struck by a vehicle while riding bicycles. Both individuals were actually in town for their sister's wedding, according to preliminary reports, and going a step farther, according to police. So a driver of a Jeep Grand Cherokee hit these two individuals, later identified as the Gaudreaus, from behind behind while trying to pass an SUV on the right that had moved over to make way for Johnny as well as Matthew. Police responded to the scene in a town in New Jersey at about 8:19 p.m. local time. Both Goudreaus suffered fatal injuries and were pronounced deceased at the scene. This was 35 miles south of Pennsylvania.
Just the details about these two brothers were going to be groomsmen in their sister Katie's wedding, which was scheduled for today.
Yeah.
It's just tragic on all levels. And I just obviously think of the family. I think of her on what should be one of the best days of your life.
Yeah.
Celebrating just a monumental occasion, and your two brothers are struck by somebody who reportedly had 5 or 6 beers and was trying to, like Bradford said, move around an SUV. It is just a horrific story all the way around. 31 years old was Johnny. 29 was Matthew. These guys had their entire lives in front of them.
And I know Johnny had a couple of young kids too. I think both like under 2 or around 2. I mean, it's awful. And the only thing that I wanted to say about this is, we are at a weekend where there will be beers and alcohol consumed. Hey guys, get somebody to drive you around. Yeah. Take an Uber. Do something. I mean,
so many
there
options.
are so many different things in which that you could do. This just does not need to happen.
No.
And it's just so unbelievably tragic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Donnie, before we came back from this segment too, you had brought up the point too about how the tragedy has struck this Columbus Blue Jackets organization twice now.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just when I saw, it's one of those stories that popped up on my phone. I got the ESPN app. It pops up and it's one of those things where it was so it was roughly. It wasn't so early anymore. It was early, but and I'm like, I looked at it. I set the phone down, and I'm like, wait, what? What?
Yeah. Again, and Alex said it earlier today. You just don't see this happen with athletes that are in their prime very often at all, and that just makes it all that much more jarring. I mean, it was 2 years ago that he signed a massive deal there in Columbus after leaving Calgary. Yeah. So it's just really, really sad.
It is. So certainly our thoughts go out to the Goudreau family. Brothers were lost, sons were lost, fathers were lost. I mean, you're a father. I'm a father. Like, that hits me. I can't imagine my kids not having either Kristen and I to grow up, and that just
not fair.
No, it isn't. You're right, Donnie. Like, be smart, have fun, be smart. There's so many different get yourself an Uber, get yourself a Lyft, find somebody who's not drinking and just let them drive.
I can safely say that if you are my friend and you need a ride home, I will come and get you.
Yeah.
Now, I
might be ticked, but
I might make you buy me some Jack in the Box as a thank you for doing it.
No problem.
But I would love to do that as opposed to the other.
Absolutely. All right. So that's we're just going to kind of leave that at that, and that's what's trending. That's certainly in all of sports. That was unfortunately and sadly and tragically the headline report in all of sports. So again, our thoughts go out to the entire Goudreau family. Let's get into, there's no easy transition here. We're going to go back into the big local news, which is that Jordan Walker has been recalled from Memphis. And I thought that, Bradford, when you were talking about this in our opening segment today, you kind of posed an interesting question, which was, is this going to be, it's going to be different, right? This time around? Yes?
I have no reason. I mean, I have no reason to believe.
Please, this is going to be different with Jordan Walker.
Why would we put any positive thought into any, not about Jordan Walker, but that the Cardinals themselves are making a good decision in any way, shape, or form here, or that they will anytime soon?
Well, maybe we'll frame it positively, and then maybe we go into the ditch here.
We'll try.
Yeah. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN.
Get signed up to play in this year's Fast Lane Pick'em Challenge at 101ESPN.com. Show off your football knowledge all season long and see if you can defeat the Fast Lane and the dudes from the Rizzuto Show on the point for the weekly top score. It's the Fast Lane and the Riz Show throwing down all football season long in the Pick'em Challenge. Get signed up to play now at 101ESPN.com. refreshed by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Where St. Louis gets its sports. WXOS, WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN. Don't pull over. You're in the fast lane. Broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
I noticed when I looked at video that my hands were moving a lot and getting into pretty inconsistent places. And it's really hard to hit like that. So I just go ahead and put them into where I wanted to fire from at the start and just go with my legs. And then my hands started getting more consistent. And I think that just really helped.
So that was Jordan Walker. That was actually a couple of weeks ago when he was called up. That was that audio courtesy of Bally Sports Midwest. First time he was called up, or the second time. It's been a couple of times now. Will this be different? That's the question, right?
All of this is just so sad.
Yep. That's where we're at. Donnie Fandango filling in for Carey and Jamie. Bradford Bruns filling in for Andrew Marsh. So Bradford was the one that kind of posed this question, Donnie, that I think is interesting. Will this time be different? I have, and this time last time they just said, we're just going to hit you against lefties and then you're going to rot. I have to imagine this is going to be different. Tommy Pham is no longer with the organization. He was waived. What is Luke Baker going to take your at-bats? So who's going to, no offense to Luke Baker, but who's going to take your at-bats at this point if you're Jordan Walker? If this kid is not in the damn lineup every single night against, I don't care who it is, unless he's dealing with something, it's inexcusable then.
Well, I mean, you would have to think, and I don't understand any other rationale besides whatever you're doing to find out about next year's team is what you need to be doing now. So whoever that means needs to get the playing time. But Walker has got to get it every day. Yeah. I do not understand the idea of bringing him up to platoon in the first place. I don't know. I am just so worried that they're going to screw this kid up and that they're going to end up trading him somewhere and then he's going to get a different whatever and it's going to make a huge difference.
Well, Donnie, the other thing too here, you think about like Gorman a couple of years ago when they didn't use him against lefties, and my thought process was, I understand what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is set the kid up for success. Mm-hmm. Okay. One, your development plan has sucked. It just has.
Yeah.
The results are there. Unless you're the Nationals or Rays farm system and we weren't told otherwise, then your development for a lot of your players, your younger players, has not worked out. So, I don't know. Why don't you prepare for on-job training? Mm-hmm. You do it everywhere else. You're going to be required to do this at some point, Donnie. You're going to have to do it. Hit lefties. Hit against tougher pitchers. I don't understand why so many times now, I'm not saying the Cardinals are the only team that does this, but we have to put you in bubble wrap.
Right.
So that you have success, and then we'll figure it out. But then there's this awkward transition. They like, oh, well, we're not really showcasing you against anybody, and now you're going to be on the bench, and then we're going to trade you for a Rays reliever, or you're going to be in Memphis. Let the kid play.
Yeah.
Against everybody.
This is some of this stuff too. I think is what I was saying earlier before on like why baseball just does not resonate with me as much as it did before. And I don't think that it's all because of the numbers game sort of thing, but there are just some things that just flat out don't make sense to me. You have pitchers that are burning their arms after pitching 5 innings. Mm-hmm. Well, and we're not doing anything to sort of build them back up. And then again with a hitter where you try to put them in bubble wrap so they're only hitting lefties. What are you doing? That means it's going to be half a hitter at some point or the other. Right. You've got to have them on both. It does you no good if they are not hitting both. I don't understand.
It's become too specialized.
It's way too specialized.
The game has become specialized. The game has become specialized in the bullpen. The game has become specialized with the manager decisions. We like to use the analytics blanket and just throw it over everything in baseball. Damn analytics. It's the approach. The analytics are just data. It's just information.
Right.
Here's the information. You figure out how to do with it. It's the people. It's always people. It's the people that say, here's the information. Okay, you know what's smart? Let's go righty lefty. Let's get the matchups going. And then you have I thought you used this perfectly. You get half a player or a quarter of a player. Where's the development for some of these guys?
And I don't understand why it had to change over the years, the way in which it has, why it's morphed into what it's morphed into. Right. If it made sense, that would be one thing, but it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And so I just have very, I hope that the Cardinals use him correctly this particular time, but I don't have a whole lot of faith that they will.
And Donnie, to that end, Jordan Walker, brought back up again, this little shuttle that we've seen over the past few weeks is the perfect microcosm for so many Cardinals fans who are frustrated and disenchanted with the direction or lack thereof of this organization. But more to the point on this subject, one of your safety nets is now gone in Tommy Pham. This is strictly very basic, very simple. It is a plug-and-play scenario for the remainder of the regular season. If Jordan Walker is not in there for the entirety of September, with the exception of maybe a couple of matchups here and there is a fundamental problem because you are still leaning on this individual to be one of your pillars, not only for next season in the outfield, but well into the future. And I don't understand personally why he has been subjected to this shuttle, to this train, whatever phrase, whatever term you want to use, because this is not how generational prospects in the game of baseball are treated. Jackson Holliday. All right, by all accounts, yes, he is going to be one of the standouts in the entire game. He had a rough stretch early this season with Baltimore. He has sent down since coming back up, has been very, very solid. But go around the league last season. Do you think that it was all sunshine and lollipops in Cincinnati for Elly De La Cruz? Do you think earlier this year, contract details aside, Corbin Carroll was hovering below the Mendoza line. These were the players with whom Jordan Walker was lumped into that same category, grouped and associated. And yet, for whatever reason, Jordan Walker, for consistent, protracted periods of time, was not allowed either the reps, the time to figure it out on the fly at the major league level, or he was simply buried. 11 at-bats, simply unacceptable upon coming back up. And I really want to see, I'm legitimately curious to see how this plays out over the next week. I don't care about tonight. You're bringing him right back up. You understand he's going to start against Stroman. When they get to Seattle, for instance, I'm not even worried about Milwaukee, Peralta, Sabaldi, okay. When they get to Seattle and they are facing bona fide aces or top of the rotation arms and Gilbert and Miller, you're barely missing out on Wu. I want to see him in those spots just as I wanted to see him against Hunter Green a couple of weeks ago in Cincinnati, and it didn't work out that time. Let's see it now. Now is the time.
You know what I wonder, and this is, and I could be very wrong in this analogy, and maybe the analogies are not one for one, but I feel like I remember when Oscar Taveras was being billed as the next Albert. When he finally got up here, I don't remember it being such a platoon thing. I remember it being, all right, kid, have at it. Get in there and do it. And so
Mo traded Alan Craig to Boston. That was the thing.
But to create room for him, correct?
Yes.
And so I don't understand this man at all, even in the slightest. And I just want it so bad for that kid, because not only does he look like he could be a great player, he looks like one hell of a person on top of it. And so he's just really easy to root for.
Yeah, he's a baseball player through and through. I do want to go back to something about that specialized game now, because Donnie, you had said a couple of times, even the game isn't as attractive to you anymore. It's not pulling you in. Forget just the cardinal aspects of it, just the game of baseball. And I don't know why I hadn't thought about this before, and maybe I'm way off, and people can correct me on the history of things. But I know that I use the term analytics as just the blanket for all of baseball's problems, and of course, the analytic boon was for Moneyball. Was stem from Moneyball. Again, I don't know why this didn't hit me before, but the reason why the A's did that is because they weren't going to pay anybody. That worked for the A's. Yet now all of the teams have implemented this same, hey, we can find the diamond in the rough. Well, if you're looking for the diamond in the rough, and I'm looking for the diamond in the rough, and Bradford's looking for the diamond in the rough, and everybody in the buildings now 30 teams are looking for the diamond in the rough now.
Not going to be many diamonds in the rough out there
Bingo.
anymore.
So you've got this approach that worked for a short period of time for a specific team. Tampa has done well with it. Milwaukee's done well with it. Otherwise, your mid-market teams have not.
No.
Like the Cardinals have not done well with this approach.
No.
Because and I've talked about this before, sorry to be a dead horse, but it's like we got 1 foot over here in the analytics game, and we're not really good with the analytics. The other foot's in this free agent because we can actually spend more than Tampa and Milwaukee and some of these other teams. So, we're good. You're not. You're riding the fence. You're not getting the top free agents because you're not the Dodgers. Understood. You're not good with analytics, so you're not the Brewers. You're in the muddled middle, man. You ain't doing anything well. And you're doing everything average. And now you got an average team. So it kind of makes sense.
And you've had an average team.
Yes.
And I mean, to me, that's all the more reason, honest to goodness, with this front office, let's strip this thing down and let's because I think that there is a whole idea or vision that has just gotten stale and is old and needs to be completely changed. Not slightly, completely. Yeah. Because who in this organization is doing what they're supposed to do? Randy Flores has been in charge of how many drafts? And we still haven't seen many of these guys to come to fruition. And then on top of that, we get big number 1 draft picks. We get these highly touted guys that kind of come through and they struggle along the way. So it feels like even if we're drafting a good player, we're not teaching them the way that they need to be taught to be good major league players. It just seems as though that there are so many layers. I don't know if dysfunction is the right word, but to the mediocrity that we're seeing. I think it's everywhere throughout this organization, and it used to not be that way.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you use the word dysfunction and you can use turmoil, but there's not turmoil.
No.
It's just this complacency that has completely taken over. It's It's just unfortunate all the way
I mean,
through.
you just remember when the Cardinals brought Woody Williams over, and I thought to myself, who's this guy? And then a year later, he's another one of Dave Duncan's reclamation projects. And who did that all of the time?
Yeah.
You know, it was just incredible. And also, Dave Duncan needs to be in the Hall of Fame, but that's another conversation for another day, I guess.
He's got my vote. That's for damn sure. And I know all of Cardinals Nation feels the same way. All right, Donnie Fandango, Anthony Stalter, Bradford Bruns. Cardinals do play tonight. We are going to talk football, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We got Donnie in. We got a football weekend. College football, Mizzou. We talked about Mizzou earlier in the show. They get it done against Murray State. They took care of business. Donnie's a massive Bills fan, though.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we actually did the AFC East preview or not. I don't care. We're going to do Donnie's division because Donnie's been a Bills fan since the 90s. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins are an interesting team.
Yep.
I hate Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. The only player in football I hate. My mother's a massive Jets fan because she's from New York. Poor woman. So we'll kind of talk about the Jets' dysfunction.
Yeah, the Patriots and the rebuilding going on there.
Well, so right, and that could be probably quick because the Patriots. Actually, you know what? Let's spend some time on how miserable the Patriots are going to be this year.
Listen, let me tell you something. Tom Brady's record against the Bills during my fandom is something like, and I'm not lying, like 26-3. So them being bad for as long as possible, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
My team played in a Super Bowl against them. I still don't. I haven't watched the fourth quarter yet. I don't know what happened.
I wouldn't. Don't go back to it, man.
So, yeah, I'm in on the Patriots being bad. But no, we're going to do the AFC East preview next. We'll talk about those teams, the interesting storylines. It's all next in the Fast Lane. Donnie Fandango in here on 101 ESPN.
Be a part of the show. Text the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line at 314-399-9646 on 101 ESPN.
Woods, the All Things Basement Tea experts, have helped homeowners dry up wet basements and crawl spaces and repaired cracked ceiling foundations since 1986. Now we level uneven concrete with Polylevel. It's so much better than mudjacking. I'm Dave, and I work for Woods, and we leveled my front porch 8.5 inches 9.5 years ago. If we can raise a highway slab, we can raise your driveway slab too, or porch, or patio. Get a free estimate at woodsbasementsystems.com.
Strap yourself in. You're in the Fast Lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN. Time to go around the NFL with a Fast Lane season preview of the AFC East.
All right, again, we may have done this division. I don't know. I don't care because our guy Donnie Fandango's in, and he's going to provide us some perspective. Actually, I know we did because you know what? A Bills fan gave me some crap.
Why?
The defense. I started to talk about the defense. I was wrong about some of the details on like the snap counts and stuff for some of the corners because I said that they had to overhaul the secondary.
Yeah.
Which, to the credit of the tweeter, he's like, hey man, what are you talking about? They actually are bringing back some of these guys. Actually, just the safeties that are being swapped. Anyways, long story short, I know we did this, but again, I don't care because Donnie loves the Bills
a lot.
He knows the division very well.
Yeah,
and I think this is one of the more fascinating divisions in football this year.
I mean, I think it's either going to be really competitive or really not. I don't think that there's going to be some middle ground here.
Yeah, well, we know the Patriots are going to be awful.
Yes.
I mean, historically bad, guys, right? I mean, this team is dog bleep.
The over-under is 4.5.
I take the under on that.
Ooh, really?
Oh, yeah. I think this is a 2-win team.
Not a Jacoby guy, eh?
Well, and not in fairness to Jacoby, he has no shot. Like, if Brady didn't have a shot 4 years ago with the declining roster, Jacoby definitely doesn't.
Saving Drake May from himself.
Basically. Like, that Patriots team is woefully thin on talent. Well, I mean, top to bottom. I think they have the number one pick next year. Did I say pickle?
I just love hearing them being terrible.
Yeah. I really want to emphasize how bad the Patriots are going to be this year.
It warms my heart.
Yeah.
It just really does.
Same.
After getting, 20 years of getting my brains beat out by them, it's nice.
Yeah, and I don't know how, maybe there's one Patriots fan that's in St. Louis and listening, and you might, you guys are jealous. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is...
Completely.
We're honest about it.
I mean, my God, I'm a Bills fan, so anybody that has won anything of consequence,
right.
I'm incredibly jealous of it. Absolutely.
You know what I appreciate about you being a Bills fan, Donnie, is your team is also the sum of, like, a meme. You know,
yes.
like...
yes, Ice Cube makes fun of us in songs. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So... If you root for a team that is just... It's a meme across the league... I have a spot for you in my heart because I'm 28-3 and you are wide right. Like, we can at least, come together on that.
And that's one thing. And I don't know how you want to, walk, how we want to walk through the AFC East.
What do you want, direction?
Yeah,
kind of driver of the show?
I was going to say, because you said wide right, and then I automatically thought of Tyler Bass missing the field goal last year in the playoffs.
In a game that was winnable. There's no doubt.
And a game that was definitely winnable.
I want to know how you feel about Stephon Diggs finally departing, because so many different people you can find individuals on one side of the aisle or the other. I know a lot of individuals are certainly really bullish on Keon Coleman in due time, but the fact of the matter is that Stephon Diggs is gone. You have the nice twin tight ends there, but this very well could be the Josh Allen show with more Cook sprinkled in.
I think so, man. And I honestly, from what I have listened to and read since the Diggs trade, which has been a lot, I really think that his time in that building needed to come to an end for the Bills to move on, for better or for worse. And I think that this has the potential to work out in the Bills' favor. One, because I think if you saw once Joe Brady took things over, took the offense over last year, they were using Cook more, they were running the ball more, and then, Diggs was not getting those targets. And Diggs is not a player that can appreciate a reduced role in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. And my whole thing is, and I loved Stephon Diggs, the player, and I saw him do a lot of great things when he was in Buffalo, but it always seemed to revolve around him getting the ball and not a team concept, so much to the point that I thought it was starting to overshadow what the offense could and should have been needing to do, because they were just trying to force him. So I really think that this year, it is a big year for Dalton Kincaid.
Right.
I mean, this is why you got drafted in the first round. You had last year, you were kind of introduced to things. Well, now we need you big time. And then also, I just kind of love the way that this wide receiving core has been put together. I think Keon Coleman, not only does he look like a great player, but he looks like a tremendous fit in that locker room. It looks, the things like, I watch a ton of their like goofy videos and stuff. Yeah. It just looks like they're lighter. Mm-hmm. Like it just looks like it's not as heavy as it was before. And I think with Curtis Samuel, I think with Coleman, I think with those tight ends, I think with running the ball better, James Cook has got to hang on to the freaking ball. He that's been something that has gotten him into Sean McDermott's doghouse a couple of times. But if he can do that, they've drafted the kid in the third round from Kentucky, Davis, who, from what I understand, is super super fast breakaway speed, so they could use him as well. I really think that this is going to be, for the first year, really, Josh Allen's team, and it's going to go how Josh goes. And so I'm really excited. If they lost a game or two more than they did last year, I would not be surprised. But I think in the end, I think that this is going to put the Bills in a good position.
I think the demise of the offense because of the Stephon Diggs trade has been grossly exaggerated. I think that this Bills offense is going to be solid. I like the use. Now, they were banged up constantly. Like you had Kincaid out for a little while, and then you had Knox out for a little while. So you didn't fully see this, but when they used the two tight ends, I thought that's an offense that fits perfectly with what Josh Allen does. Like, I try to think of what the defensive coordinator is looking at. And if you're a defensive coordinator and you've got that big moose behind you, I know he's got a big arm, but you have that big moose who can kill me in the red zone with his legs or his arm, and the two tight ends. I have to defend the middle of the field. And even if I do, I'm going to get beat up. So adding Keon Coleman, I'm not a huge fan of some of the other receivers that they picked up, but I understood what, it's kind of a sum of their parts thing.
Correct.
I think the offense for Buffalo is going to be good. I think the Cincinnati game changed everything for them. I'm talking about 2 years ago when they got beat up.
Yeah.
When Cincinnati went in there and they said, quite frankly, this is a prison yard and you're our, we're
going to punch you in the mouth.
Repeatedly.
Among other things.
To me, that was when the Bills looked at things and they needed to say, we are a outdoor team that is built like a dome team. We want to be fast and we want to be skilled. And no, if somebody's got to go to Buffalo in January, beat the hell out of them.
And I think we've got the opportunity to do that.
I think you're more built now from a physical. You may not be as talented, but I think you're more playoff built now than what you have been in years past.
Well, you have an offensive line too that played together and started together every game last year. You're returning all those guys. There are some questions on defense. I definitely, the Matt Milano thing is an absolute killer. But the good thing is that you have seen growth from Greg Russo, and I think that this could be a year that he takes a massive step forward. And then also too, for better or for worse, this is the hey, Vaughn, you got any left in you, buddy?
Yeah. Right.
Because he's making $24 million, $26 million, something like that. And I honestly feel like he has rooked the Bills so far in this stay in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And so
Put the money in the bag.
They
That's
absolutely need him to do something. Now, I don't expect that to be 10 sacks, 12 sacks, but he's got to do something. He has got to be a presence. But I honestly, listen, and I'm not even trying to say this as like a Bills homer, which I am. I mean, I think we're winning this division. I think that the Dolphins are going to finish in second place, and I think that the Jets are, and I'm just going to hope that this is the truth. And I don't know that it's the truth. I am just going to hope that building is in as much disarray as everyone says that it is.
Right.
I don't think that head coach, Robert Saleh, has his hand over things. I think we know who's running that show, and I think that he doesn't have the talent that he did before to be able to run that show like he did before.
Well, I brought this up before about Aaron Rodgers, though, Donnie. It's like, 2 years ago, he didn't look great. He didn't look sharp in the red zone. Remember the Detroit game? Week 18, the Lions, if they needed, I think it was Seattle. They needed Seattle to lose in order to make the playoffs. They knew at kickoff of that Sunday night game, it was the last game of the regular season, that they were eliminated. The Lions had nothing to play for. The Packers had everything to play for. That was a home playoff game for Aaron and the Packers. And the Lions took it to him. I mean, it was a close game, but the Lions beat him that night.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was sharp. I thought the red zone issues were there. He complained about the receivers, who were just fine for Jordan Love a year ago. And now he goes to the Jets. He's 2 years removed of what he was 2 years ago, which, again, wasn't his best. He's got the Achilles, and he's 2 years older. I think that this is a combustible situation in New York, despite the fact that defense is outstanding.
And by the same token, isn't it interesting when you look at the roster construction there, Stoltz, and you think about New York last season made waves with that opening week, that opening game victory naturally, and they were able to do so on the strength of the defense, and that defense was still a sterling unit for the most part. But when you're on the field for 30 to 35 minutes per game, and that wears on you through October, through November, it's going to get you. And I'm wondering if Aaron Rodgers is merely functional to above average, and he isn't able to necessarily elevate the guys around him in the same way that he did during the glory days. Those are never coming back from Green Bay. By the same token, you've got a Garrett Wilson. You have a premier running back in Breece Hall. If Breece Hall is the engine that makes that New York offense go, and Aaron Rodgers is able to use that veteran savvy and still has enough of a cannon there with the right arm, New York automatically improves. I wouldn't say exponentially, but you're still picking up a few additional victories, because have we seen quarterback play that porous from another team than what we witnessed from the Jets last season? It's hard to tell.
All right, and then Miami. So the Dolphins, real quick. You guys watch college football, right? There's always teams in college football that you just have to appreciate what they are. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma, for all those years under Lane Kiffin, just appreciate what they are. They're fun as hell on Saturday, and they're going to win a lot of games early, and they're going to lose the big one late, because they're not built to make a sustained run against top defenses. That's the Dolphins. I know exactly what they are. I think they're fun as hell. I think in the first half of the year, they're going to be the talk of the town again. And in the second half, when the weather changes and they get on the road and everybody's figured out, how to defend them, and they're a little banged up, that's going to be it. But to me, you appreciate the Dolphins. They're going to finish second. And if they have a road game in the playoffs like they did last year, they're going to lose. Yeah. Like, that's the Dolphins.
Why do you have to be Brian Flores here, buddy? Huh?
Well,
such a naysayer.
I actually probably said more nice things about them than he did. I'm telling you right now, Dolphins are going to be like 8-0. And they're going to be, well, is this the team? No, it's not the team.
Just the kind of the repeat of last year is what you're thinking.
Donnie, you've probably seen the Bills have to go down to South Florida early in the year.
It sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Belichick even hated it. Brady even hated it. Like, they've had some big time wins in Miami, don't get me wrong. But like, any team that's going to go down there early with the weather and all that, it's a distinct advantage. The layup of all layups last year is when the Dolphins drew Kansas City, and it was going to be -27, and people were going to have to cut off limbs because of frost spray. They were going to get trucked. They were going to lose. That was the layup of all layups. I think that it's going to be the same formula this year with the Dolphins. And I did really fun.
See Mike McDaniel got 2 years.
Yeah,
and as much
he's a great play caller.
As much as I would love to hate that guy, I friggin' love him.
Yeah, I know he's quirky.
Dude, he's quirky. He seems like a good person and just sort of a different personality. What'd you say now?
He overcame a lot too. He was an alcoholic, and he was actually in Atlanta. I think he was with Shanahan. So Kyle Shanahan, because he's on that Shanahan tree. Mm-hmm. Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for 2 years. McDaniel, I believe, was the quarterback coach or one of these assistants. Mm-hmm. And he was showing up late for meetings. There were some questions about him in practice, and they staged an intervention with him. And he's talked about this openly. Staged an intervention. Hey, man, we got to get you some help. And Arthur Blank, the owner for the Falcons, got him the help and all that. And now,
good for him.
It's a daily battle.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But look what he's overcome and what he's accomplished. So I'm a Mike McDaniel fan too. Yeah. I root for people that can overcome.
Absolutely.
Does his running game have another gear? With that tandem, do you at any point envision him not necessarily really embracing a sea change as far as philosophy goes, but with those guys, the thunder and lightning combination, the boom there, are you going to at any point consider maybe embracing more of that physicality come January? Because otherwise, it's basically, Donnie, it's a 180 of how you want to win in Buffalo. It's a 180 in Miami.
Well, so then I wonder if they could have the same issue that the Bills had with Diggs. Is Tyreek Hill going to start chirping about not getting the ball enough?
Yeah.
If they started to do that, if they started to run the ball,
right.
Because he is being paid as one of the best wide receivers in the game to get the ball and to score, and I could see that if he was not doing that on a consistent basis, that he might have something to say about it.
A lot of mouths to feed there. You got Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. They ignore the tight end. They're just like, we don't care who the tight end is. Ask Mike Gesicki. But yeah, Devon Achane is a home run. I mean, that kid's a home run hitter. Anytime the ball's in his hands, he can go 80. It's going to be a fun team. I know the ending. It's like Kirk Cousins. I know what he is, and I know what the ending's going to be. I know what the ending's going to be for the Dolphins, but the ride is going to be fun. You know, the roller coaster is going to be fun.
It depends. If we go down there and lose, then I'm not going to call it very fun.
Yeah, Donnie's
not
like,
at all.
Screw your fun. It's Fastlane. Donnie Fandango in for Jamie Rivers and for Carey Davis. Bradford Bruns in for Andrew Marsh. We have Blues Cues next. So Donnie hosts the Last Minute Blues podcast with Alex Ferrario, and Donnie is a massive Blues fan.
Yes.
We like to call, Jamie, I invented this because of Jordan Binnington. We use the term psychopath as a term of endearment.
Yeah.
You're a psychopath with the Blues.
Yeah, absolutely. So I take that as a compliment.
So fire in your Blues-related questions, 314-399-9646. And Donnie will answer them next.
Let's go.
On ESPN.
Sign up to play fantasy football with Adam Wainwright, Kyle Gibson, Lars Nootbaar, and others during Big League Impact's 2024 fantasy football season. Help support some awesome charitable causes handpicked by the participating players and show off your fantasy skills with a chance to win a variety of prizes. Space is limited. You can find all the details on how to sign up for Big League Impact's 2024 fantasy football season now at 101ESPN.com. College football is back on ESPN. Tomorrow, Game 1, Penn State and West Virginia. Game 2, Hawaii and UCLA. Coverage starts tomorrow morning at 10:30. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Cards bringing a little bounce into the Bronx. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this SportsCenter update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Fresh off that series split versus San Diego, St. Louis meets Aaron Boone's Yankees tonight. First pitch set for 6:05 with Eric Fetty opposing Marcus Stroman. STL's righty is 1-3 since arriving from Chicago. Stroman, meanwhile, pursues his 10th victory. He must contend with Mason Wynn, who gashed those Padres for 9 total hits. College pigskin Mizzou demolishes Murray State 51-zip. Luther Burden scored shortly after kickoff. Nate Noel soon followed. Then Toriano Pride Jr.'s pick 6 made it 21-0, not even halfway through quarter one. Those Tigers tackle Buffalo next weekend. The SportsCenter update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're listening to The Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN. Now, it's time for The Fast Lane's Blues Cues.
All right, so our guy Jamie Rivers is not in today, but we've got a treat for you, Blues fans. Donnie Fandango, the ultimate Blues fan psychopath, and one of the hosts of the Last Minute Blues podcast is filling in today. So we thought, why the hell not? We're going to do a Blues Cues.
Yeah, so instead of it being informative and, based on knowledge and experience in the NHL, it's just going to be me and my half-ass takes.
I love it.
All right, good.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's all I got.
Yeah. All right, so without further ado, your Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Bradford Bruns, I'm going to let you take the reins here. What are some Blues Cues questions for our guy, Donnie Fandango?
Donnie, let's drop the puck from the 5-7-3, regardless of position. It could be a forward, it could be defenseman, maybe even a goaltending prospect in the minors. Who knows? About whom? One player, Donnie, are you the most excited entering the preseason?
I want to see what Dalibor Dvorsky has to bring this team, because when we were at the prospect camp a month or so ago, it was a man amongst boys sort of situation with him. He looked like he was a head above everybody else. So I am really, really anxious to see not only what he can do this year if it's with the Blues, but maybe he doesn't make the team and they send him to AHL for the year. I just think that this kid's going to be something special soon.
I thought he looked. You're right. You described it perfectly. A man among boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. His skill set was live. The way that he got after the puck, the way he controlled the puck. Yeah. Body positioning.
He as dominant as you can be in that setting. I thought that he was.
If you knew nothing about hockey and you just watched that camp, you were like,
see.
That guy's different.
Absolutely.
Than everybody else. Yeah.
Along similar lines from FedEx Brian, over or under 3 years before Dvorsky strips the #1 center tag from Robert Thomas. Ambitious.
Oh, boy.
That's, yeah.
I got to say over, because I think that Robert Thomas is still coming to his own. We're still figuring out how good Robert can be. So I would say, I would say over then.
Let's add a Hart Trophy, a Selke Trophy. Just keep adding the hardware.
I feel like Robert Thomas is going to develop into those, and maybe this isn't fair, but I feel like Robert Thomas is going to develop into the guy that is underappreciated.
I think he's already there. Yeah, absolutely.
He impacts the game so much. He's your best 200-foot player. But yet, you already saw Ryan O'Reilly. So he's going to be that guy that you don't appreciate fully what he does. Much different than like a Colton Parayko. I think people don't fully appreciate and grasp what he actually does because he's not Chris Pronger. Like, okay, two different guys.
It's going to be interesting to see who they pair Parayko with, and if it's Broberg, and what that, if they do, what that 1-2 punch looks like.
Yeah,
what are you more enticed about to begin the season, Donnie? Perhaps pairing Broberg with Parayko, full stop right away, that excitement level, or more of the steady Eddie Letty to begin the season, see how it goes for a quadrant, a quarter or so, and then maybe loosen the reins?
I think for me, I think it's a steady Eddie situation. The reason that I say that is because if you think that you remotely have a chance at making the playoffs, every single stinking point is going to matter, especially early on in the year. So you got to get them where you can, and I don't think that you have really sort of the space to be able to experiment like that. I think that they need to do what's kind of responsible from the get-go, and if Broberg can grow into it, great. Then we'll see it.
Yep.
From the 618, in the back half of the 2024-25 season, what are your expectations for one Jimmy Snuggerud? So once the Golden Gopher season ends, presumably, what is Snuggerud going to be able to do with the parent club?
Well, I mean, it's gone without saying that as soon as that season is over, he's going to be here.
Yep.
And I think the thing that I want more than anything else is that I want Minnesota to go to the Frozen Four, which is going to be here in St. Louis at Enterprise Center. I want us to be able to root for him to win a national championship and then be like, hey, homeboy, just go home for a couple days, get some bags, come on back, and you're going to be here for the next 10 to 12 years or so.
Boy, that would be a scene, wouldn't it? That's cool.
And you know what?
It could absolutely
it's in the realm of possibility as well. But I think that Jimmy will be here at the end of the year, and I don't think there's any time in Springfield there. He's just gonna come in and he'll be a Blue.
Donnie, the 217 poses this question: how did the Last Minute Blues podcast get its start?
Oh man, it's awesome because it gives me a chance to talk about Jeff Burton, who I love so much and miss so much. But Jeff and I, so our boss Tommy was kind of on us about doing a podcast. Like, guys, you really need to do something. You're the old guys here. You don't have a pot. You need to do something. And so, we both love the Blues. We talked about the Blues all of the time. So the Blues were starting to go on that run in 2019, and we were like, well, let's do this. And then Jeff proposed calling Jamie and seeing if Jamie wanted to do it, and thankfully he did. And since we legitimately came up with the idea we came up with the idea on a Tuesday and recorded our first one on a Thursday, that's kind of what that's why we named it that. And a funny thing is that the imaging person that does the stations didn't want to, in the title, didn't want us to say podcast. So the first imaging thing that he produced for us just said the Last Minute Blues. And I lost my marbles. And Jeff, as he did, had to, pull me down off of the ceiling and, so that we could get the correct imaging for it. But, man, it just started that way. And it was three guys that just loved talking hockey and hanging out. And it's morphed into that with Alex and JR, man. It's just, I learn so much as a fan from these guys. I just am so grateful that I have been able to be like a sponge. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just regurgitating what these dudes, what I see that these guys say, and then I watch out for. And I'll still say this. I have not heard somebody that's able to break down the Blues the way that Jamie does, in a way that I can understand. Yeah. He can take something that is a very complex part of the game, and he can break it down to an essence to where me, who's never played the game, can get it and can notice it the next game. And so, it was just fun. And then those dudes would have a great time picking on me, and now JR and Alex have a good time picking on me.
Oh, that's, come on.
So that's kind of went on, kind of went throughout. But
if Jeff and Jamie were doing it, okay, but JR picks on himself as much as he picks on anybody else.
He very much does. That's true.
JR is an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah,
that guy's awesome, and so is and Alex is a great dude as well. It's just, you painted such a great visual too of Jeff and pulling you down from the.
Yeah.
Jeff had such a calmness to him, whether he was delivering a joke that you didn't realize you were standing in your own blood because he had stuck you. Like, damn, that's fun. Oh, you got me. Like, Jeff was so witty and so funny, but also had this calming presence to him too. Like, hey man, it's gonna be fine.
Well, listen, I'm the oldest of my three of my family. I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and I can very much say that Jeff Burton was the closest thing that I have ever had to an older brother. And Jeff would, my temper has gotten me into some issues here from time to time. And Jeff would be a guy that would pull me aside and be like, hey, man, I know what you're trying to say here, but here's how you're coming off. Here is what it looks like. And, man, you need somebody in your life sometimes that can pop you upside of the head and say, get yourself square again. And, he just was always asking about the kids and always, asking about Mary. And man, anytime anybody has a loss like that, you just feel it. And at least now I can talk about it without crying. Because that first year, man, I couldn't talk about it without choking up. But now I can just see his goofy face. And I hope that in heaven that he's as high as he can be with as much porn as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably check and check. And he'll probably He probably has already sought out Dunk.
Yeah.
And they're probably having some man soaps.
Dude, I just remember. So we had the chance to go and do a preseason game with the Blues 2 years ago. First preseason game, it was Curbs, me, and Jeff. Mm-hmm. And Jeff was really sick at that point. Yeah. And that particular day, I know for a fact that he did not feel well enough to be up there in that booth doing the thing. But man, he put on his suit. He took whatever he took, and he soldiered through that evening. And there was a point where we walked past Doug Armstrong going to the 101 booth, and he looks over to me and he says, we shouldn't be up here. And I was like, I know, buddy, I know, but we are, you know. And so it was, it was just really rad that I got to do a couple of those things with him, before he passed. We did a podcast taping with Brett Hall, me, Jamie, and Brett Hall out at Brett Hall's spot. And that was, man, I mean, that's just kind of a pinch me moment as a St. Louis kid, you know. And so it's, every time we do the podcast, it helps me think of him, and I just miss him so much.
No doubt. Well said. Love you, Jeff. All right. Donnie Fandango in for Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. Bradford Bruns in for our guy, Andrew Marsh. Huge weekend in college football. You may think like, well, what's the deal? You don't have a bunch of key matchups. Oh, yeah, there are. There's a lot of key matchups. You already saw Florida State lose last weekend. Who's going down this weekend? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Catch the Balloon Party with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson. Weekdays from 10 to 11 a.m. on 101 ESPN. The fastest hour of sports radio is driven by Munganast and Burkhardt Alton Toyota.
coverage at home and on the road.
Thanks, Toriano, for protecting Faroe Field. We'll protect you on the road and at your home.
Online at carltoninsurance.net.
See you in Columbia.
You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
So it's a fun weekend in college football. This is the first official week. We had week 0 last week. We have week 1 this week. Last week, we saw Florida State fall to Georgia Tech, and that kind of kicked off what I think, guys, is going to be the most fun and wildest college football season since I've been alive.
And tell me why you say this, because listen, sure. I am not I don't watch college football as much as I should. I'll tell you that much. I love, but there just gets to be a point where my wife says, how much sports do we have to watch?
Right. Oh, so it's Saturday and Sunday?
Oh, nice.
Really?
And Thursday.
And now Monday. Okay, great.
Every day.
Awesome. So there goes our fall. So college football, as you know, Donnie, has expanded its playoffs. So we're no longer going to have the 4 teams. We are going to have 14 teams.
Wow.
Which, yes. I've never been one that has said it's gonna take away from the regular season. That has always been the argument. Well, if you have more playoff teams, it's going to lessen the impact of the regular season.
Doesn't it make the regular season count that much more?
That's how I think. Get out of my head, Donnie. That's exactly how I think. So you already have a loss. Florida State now has to run the table just to get into this thing. That's not exciting. That's not drama-filled. You're a Mizzou team. Watching Florida State lose, that doesn't impact how Mizzou fans, who are already jacked out of their minds excited, are going to view the college football season. I think that there is going to be a domino effect every week in college football. And I think the matchups, knock on wood, are going to be better too because of all the conference realignment. You know, like the history of college football, I think is impacted with all the conference realignment.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I get all that. I understand.
It's tough to keep it straight sometimes.
It is, but I kind of dig Ohio State having to go out west to, take on Washington this year. I like that. We're going to see something new. But you still have Ohio State, Michigan, the game at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I think college football this year is going to
some of your tradition while it gets new and kind of freshens things up a bit.
And now you've got all these playoff teams, and you're going to have an actual tournament. I think it's going to be a wild year in college football.
And the mega conferences were inevitable. Now we get to see everything actually play out. At first, granted, it's going to be a little weird with the 16-team Big Ten, with the 16-team SEC. It's just not going to feel natural to see Oregon in the Big Ten. It's not going to feel natural to see the USC Trojans in the Big Ten. But when you get some of those matchups in Stalter, I'm intrigued, for instance, at just how a team like Oregon, which has been prolific, especially on one side of the football for well over a decade now, taking that style of football to the Midwest for all intents and purposes. How is it going to play out against more of the physical defenses, the likes of an OSU certainly and so forth? Even for USC, for example, a team that has been predicated the last couple of years. Now Caleb Williams is gone, but you know that Lincoln Riley wants to sling it. How is that going to work when you go up against a team like an LSU, which is going to be one of the marquee matchups this weekend? That is what makes it so intriguing, because you have more of these powerhouse matchups, and they start for many different schools right away. Before the beginning of the show, we were talking about how a team such as a Florida, for example, and the SEC needs this season in year 3 under a Billy Napier to really make strides. Well, that schedule is so arduous and so brutal that I'm not sure how you top 500 in an instance like that. But that's what makes it so fun, because you still have that very real threat each and every week that you could get knocked off. Maybe you have one more mulligan here, but perhaps not.
Well, I really like, too, that it seems like it gives the opportunity for a bunch more teams to win other than Alabama,
Georgia.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Clemson when they were,
right,
Ohio State.
That, to me, just
Michigan.
got kind of old after a while. I got tired of seeing the Alabama guy.
Georgia.
Yeah, just all the time,
Mm-hmm.
So,
and no longer Nick Saban, so that opens things up, too. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't have to beat Nick Saban now.
Right, absolutely.
So these matchups this weekend, here's the marquee ones. You've got Clemson, who's 14, against Georgia, who's number 1 again this year in the AP. Even though this is not a ranked team versus a ranked team, Penn State and West Virginia is going to be fascinating tomorrow. That's an early kickoff tomorrow morning. Then you've got Florida and Miami. Florida, as you mentioned with Billy Napier, that's going to be interesting. And I think Miami's legit this year.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, Miami always has the athletes. Do they have the coaching? Can they put it all together? I actually think it's going to come together this year for Miami. But that's a stiff test right away. You got to go to the swamp. So I'm fascinated by that one. A couple other ones. Number 7, Notre Dame, going to College Station to take on number 20, Texas A&M, with Texas A&M obviously being a Mizzou opponent this season, and some of the hype surrounding Mike Elko's team. I think that one's going to be fascinating. Plus, I really like Riley Leonard, Notre Dame's transfer quarterback from Duke. I'm interested to see what he does there. And the fun one, if you're going to watch one all weekend and you hate defense, LSU and USC.
If you hate defense, that's awesome.
If they don't get in the 70s, I'll be shocked.
Really?
And that one is on Sunday night.
And where are they playing? Is that in USC or is that in LSU?
That is in Vegas.
Yeah, Sin City. Do you not believe Stoltz and Blake Baker's ability, formerly with Mizzou, to turn around that defense? I still have.
Absolutely not.
I have my suspicions. But you know the athletes with whom you're operating on that side of the ball, and don't certainly overlook the fact that LSU may have one of the best defenders in the entire country in Harold Perkins Jr. I really like that matchup on paper. I reference also, I want to go back to the very first tilt you mentioned too, and that's Clemson versus Georgia tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, because last season, we know that Clemson did not reach the rarefied heights that the program enjoyed as recently as a few seasons ago. And I'm intrigued to see, guys, just how far this team is able to advance and maybe meet or surpass expectations in 2024, because Dabo Swinney, the man at the helm, has been very, very adamant about not wanting to wade into those portal waters to the same degree as so many of his counterparts.
Finally did a little bit.
A little bit. But you have the ultimate early season week 1 litmus test against Georgia, albeit in Atlanta. Okay, it's not between the hedges, but still, the game is being played in Georgia against a team that very well could have the best offensive line that Kirby Smart has had since he actually showed up there between the hedges. If Clemson has the doors blown off when there's a golden opportunity in light of that FSU loss, I want to see how that team progresses throughout the year, or if this is going to continue maybe a bit of a downward trend, because Deshaun Watson, college style, Trevor Lawrence, they're not walking through that door anymore. Is Dabo going to continue with that same philosophy? Is he going to be long for this style of college football? I have my doubts.
I'm also fascinated through that matchup. I love Carson Beck. Yeah. He's the Georgia quarterback. And I thought that he started to really show like pro-style ability in the second half last year. And I think he winds up being the number 1 overall pick, but he's still not that eye-popping. The example last year would be like Jaden Daniels, where like, I got to watch this kid. I think Carson Beck's going to be the number 1 overall pick next year by the Patriots.
I think it's
after they trade Drake May.
I think it's pretty rad that you can, if you're a college football fan, you can lock in at about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning and probably be good until like midnight or 1 a.m. when you get a West Coast game.
That to me is always fun with college football, because you're right, because the NFL is great because you got the noon kickoffs and you got the 3 o'clock and you're starting to wind down. Oh, I still got the Sunday night game. College football, you're like, morning, kickoff, 11 a.m. Yes. 3, you got your 2:30 matchups. Fantastic. You got a 7 o'clock. And don't forget, you can go across the pond and watch Hawaii.
That's right.
At like 11.
And Carson Beck may not quite get the adulation of, say, a Shedeur Sanders. Sanders, fantastic in his own right. But to me, he actually represents the most surefire choice for your Heisman this year. And if you're talking about possible pro prospects as early as next spring, you really can't go wrong between the ultra-efficient Beck. He only turned it over interception-wise 4 times last season, or Sanders. Those guys are a ton of fun to watch. And, yeah, it'll be really, really fun this weekend.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Snake Pit, too. Our guy Gator, he's got a big one. Gator's a Gator fan, obviously. Florida
sense.
Gators. She's a loyal listener. So good luck against Miami, man. That's going to be a fantastic matchup.
What an amazing thing that college football is. And just, I mean, like the regionality of it as well. And like, you know, man, I've been hating Notre Dame since I can remember. And I'm just glad to be able to continue to do that as I get older.
Yeah. All right, we got the, that's funny. We got the gauntlet coming up. Donnie, do you want to participate in the gauntlet if somebody picks you?
Sure.
Okay, so you got baseball, football, hockey, and random trivia.
Let's roll. I'll do my best. I have a lot of useless information in my head.
I know. Trust me. No. Actually, just a real quick peek behind the curtain here. So anytime Donnie's in, I always ask him about bands because I'm like, hey, is this band, is this cool? Like, are they all right? Because whenever you turn to me like, no, those guys, they're terrible human beings. I'm like, damn it.
But hopefully I haven't told you that many times.
No, you really haven't.
Because there's really not very much of that these days.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to do the gauntlet, and whoever, it's either going to be me or Donnie, because Bradford participates in the questions. He writes the questions. So Donnie is available. We'll have a new gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Stupiracy, the podcast where stupidity meets history and conspiracy.
I'm really confused. What are we doing?
With hosts Scott Rizzuto and Tim McKernan.
It's time to learn the truth.
Check out the latest episode, available now. As Riz and Tim delve into the gruesome details of the Erfurt latrine disaster of 1184.
Oh, God, it's horrible.
Discover how a meeting of European nobles turned into a horrific tragedy when the floor of a church collapsed, plunging dozens into a cesspit of human waste.
Oi! Waster, not a bathroom.
Watch or listen to the latest Stupiracy now on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Presented by Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Visit evergreenstl.com or call Mark at 314-889-0503. And by Brown & Crouppen, 222-2222 or getbc.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or store near you.
Catch every show live on our YouTube channel or at 101ESPN.com. 101 ESPN Studio Cams.
Presented by the Air Alliance Team Heating and Cooling. Getting the job done quickly, correctly, 100% of the time.
WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. You're in the fast lane, coming to you live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN. 4 warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
404, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Donnie Fandango and Bradford Bruns filling in for Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We've got John on the line for the gauntlet. What's up, John?
Hey, happy Labor Day weekend, guys.
Yeah, same to you. Man. Yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great weekend coming up here. But first, we got some business to take care of. So you have 2 options today. Donnie has made himself available, John. So, would you like to take on Donnie in round 1? And we'll just count it for, somebody else. I mean, you just, to get through the gauntlet, you got to just do 4. Okay. So, if you want Donnie, you can choose Donnie, or you can choose me. Who would you like?
Let's see what Donnie's got.
There you go. I like it. I was hoping.
So I assume that he is doing this strategically, thinking that you know more about that he knows more about sports than I do because I'm more of a music guy than a sports guy, right?
John is probably. I don't.
That's okay.
I don't exist in John's noggin.
That's okay.
But critical thinking says yeah. Probably.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's see if I can do it.
All right. So Donnie, this is how this is going to work.
All right.
You have got to go into the cone of silence, which is with our guy Mike Ryder.
All right, Mike.
So we'll signal you to come in.
All right.
And we'll see how you do.
All right, great.
All right, good man. So Donnie is heading to the cone of silence right now. John, you're going to tell Bradford to spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel, Bradford.
All right, John, what are you hoping for?
Hopefully not hockey and not rock band.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much rock and roll even random has, but Donnie is a hockey nut. What do we got?
I think it's an interesting draw. We're going to go random.
Okay, so maybe this is like the one category outside of hockey. I do wonder if Donnie, depending on the questions, might have a leg up here. All right, John, as you know, you're going to get 4 random questions. Donnie will receive the same 4 random questions. Each question is worth 2 points unless you or Donnie ask for the options. If you guys ask for the option, those questions are worth 1 point. Are you ready?
Ready to go.
All right, here we go. Question 1. Name the major Bay Area city in which Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris was born. I hacked up her name. I basically called her a llama.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go Oakland. Final answer.
Question number 2, John. The Muppet Gonzo is infatuated with what type of animal?
Chickens. Final answer.
All right. Question number 3, John. Can you tell us the character in Eminem's semi-autobiography, the 2002 film 8 Mile, who serves as Rabbit's mentor and host the rap battles at the shelter? Can you tell us the character in Eminem's 2002 film 8 Mile, who serves as Rabbit's mentor and host rap battles at the shelter?
I've never seen it. Give me the options.
Cheddar Bob, Wink, or Future?
Give me the first one.
Cheddar Bob?
Yeah, final answer.
All right.
And finally, John, according to the National Park Service, listen closely, what is the second longest river in North America?
Hey, that's a good one. Let's take a shot and go with the Colorado. Final answer.
Okay.
All right, we'll bring back Donnie from the Cone of Silence. John, how you feeling?
50-50.
Okay.
Well, he's hustling. He wants it.
All right, Donnie, so this is how it's going to work.
All right.
I'm sure you've listened, but sometimes, when you're driving around, you might not know the full. Yeah. So the wheel spun random.
Okay.
So you'll have 4 random questions.
Okay.
Each question is worth 2 points unless you ask for the options. If you ask for the options, those questions become worth 1 point.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sound good.
Okay. Here we go. Name the major Bay Area city in which Democratic president nominee Kamala Harris was born.
San Francisco.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Question number 2, Donnie. The Muppet Gonzo is infatuated with what type of animal?
Chickens.
No hesitation.
No hesitations. Dude, the Muppets rule. Absolutely rule. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. They rule.
Are you ready for the third question?
Let's go.
All right. Can you tell us the character in Eminem's 2002 film 8 Mile who serves as Rabbit's mentor and host rap battles at the shelter?
I'm going to need options. I've never seen that movie.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Cheddar Bob, Wink, Future.
Future. Final answer. That sounds like a real rapper. That is a real rapper.
He is.
That's probably not right. All right. Anywho.
Number 4. Per the National Park Service, Donnie, what is the second longest river in North America?
Well, it wouldn't be the Colorado River because I would think that would be the longest. Would it be the Mississippi? I'm going to go Mississippi, final answer.
All right. Let's go over these. John versus Donnie.
Yeah.
In random.
I was hoping for sports, not feeling super great about it, but we'll see. At least I know I got the Gonzo question right.
Well, let's find out.
All right.
The Muppet, Gonzo, is infatuated with what type of animal? Donnie, you said chickens.
Yep.
John, you said chickens. Correct answer is?
Certainly not cows or bats, the chickens.
That's correct.
Yep.
Neither of you needed the options on that, so we have a 2-2 tie between Donnie and John.
Okay.
Name the major Bay Area city in which Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris was born. John, you said Oakland. Donnie, you said San Francisco.
Yes.
Both on the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Correct answer is?
That would be Oakland.
Oakland is the correct answer, and John did not need the options.
Yep.
So John is up 4-2 on Donnie.
Yeah, well done, John.
Can you tell us the character in Eminem's 2002 film, 8 Mile, who serves as Rabbit's mentor and hosts rap battles at the shelter? John, you said, I don't know, I need the options. I've never seen that movie. You said the first one, which was Cheddar Bob. Donnie, you said, I don't know, I need the options. I've never seen that movie.
Yes.
You said Future. And you're like, I think that's a rapper that sounds like a rapper that is a rapper. It's probably not right.
Right.
Correct answer is?
You'd better lose Cheddar Bob and Wink because it's Future.
It is Future.
Hey! Oof, that's dumb luck right there. I'll take it, though.
Hey, either way, Donnie's got a points to make it 3.
All right.
4-3, John. Final question. According to the National Park Service, what is the second longest river in North America? Donnie, without the options, you said the Mississippi River.
Yes.
John, without the options, said the Colorado River.
Oh, buddy.
This is how it's going to work. If it's the Colorado River, John wins. If it's the Mississippi River, Donnie wins because he didn't use the options and he's down by 1.
Yeah.
If it's the Rio Grande River,
Didn't think of that one.
which was another option,
Probably should have.
John also wins because he's up by 1. John.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
Not today.
It was the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Donnie is correct. That gives him 2 points. And in an absolute epic battle in the gauntlet today, Donnie wins 5-4 over John. John, I'm sorry.
Sorry, John.
No problem. Great job, Donnie.
Have a good weekend, brother.
You too.
Nice job, John. Thanks for listening. And as Donnie said, man, have a great holiday weekend.
I feel really great about that.
Yeah, you should.
I feel really good about that. I just watched a documentary about the Colorado River not very long ago. So, I feel as though that some of that, it was helpful. It wasn't just useless information bouncing around up there.
Dude, you nailed it, man. That was, and you didn't know this at the time, but you needed to answer that question correctly without the options to win.
Yeah, you did.
And you did.
You know what's the longest,
You were
though?
down 1.
The absolute longest? By the slimmest of margins, that would be the Missouri River. Little swerve there.
Really?
Really?
No kidding. Barely.
I'm learning.
It's on record.
It's a day to learn.
Colorado's up there, as is the Rio Grande.
There you go. Is it Grand or Grande?
Whatever you want it to be.
Called Kamala Harris, Kamalama. You know when your brain, it works too fast?
All the time, Anthony.
Yeah.
All of the time.
Usually from 2 to 6 for me. It gets working hyperspeed. I wind up being an idiot.
Sometimes I just want, I'm so excited to get out whatever it is that I'm going to say. Yeah. I absolutely hammer it. It's terrible.
Absolutely. Yep. So appreciate everybody knowing that I am human. I am a human being.
It's not election season yet.
Somebody's going to be like, see, he doesn't like that side. I don't talk politics. All right. Katie Wu, John Denton, Jeff Jones, some interesting nuggets on the Cardinals that we'll get into next on 101 ESPN.
The Fast Lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN.
It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Our listeners are fantastic. Interesting nuggets here about the Cardinals. So Katie Wu, Jeff Jones, John Denton. Katie Wu says the plan for Jordan Walker, as we know, he was recalled from AAA Memphis. The plan is to play Jordan Walker every day. No platooning this time. This is, again, from Katie Wu. He'll be in the lineup as a starter regardless of opposing pitcher going forward.
Great.
I would think that would be the case.
Good.
I would hope that'd be the case.
Yeah.
So that, look, you gotta see. I don't even say like they need to see what they have in him. They just need to play him.
Mm-hmm.
He's somebody that has, I think, proven enough at the AAA level. You got to see if he can handle big league pitching consistently.
At this point, to me, it doesn't seem like sending him back down to AAA again is any good. Like you just said, you know what he can do there. Now, you know what I mean? Let's see what we got going on up here.
Yep, absolutely. So that was from Katie Wu. Jeff Jones at JM Jones. He covers the Cardinals for MLB.com. He tweets out, I'm sorry, that John Denton covers the team for MLB.com. Jeff Jones is with the Belleville Democrat. Michael Ciani will play 9 innings back-to-back tonight and tomorrow for Springfield. Depending on his recovery and how he feels, he could be a candidate to be activated when rosters expand Sunday. Not a guarantee. I don't know where you play Michael Ciani. Like, Michael Ciani has earned an opportunity to rejoin the club when he's healthy and he's ready to go. It's not his fault he got hurt. It's just one of those situations. Victor Scott came in, though, another guy that has been viewed favorably within the organization. He has taken over in center field. Defensively, he's been outstanding. And offensively, over the last 3 or 4 weeks now, has been great. He has really upped his game. So I don't know where Michael Ciani kind of fits into the outfield plans at this point. You do have Jordan Walker. If he's going to play every day, they still love Newt. Alec Burleson is an everyday player now. So again, I don't know where Michael Ciani fits here.
The Cardinals major in having a back jam of outfielders all of the time. Like it seems like it's been this way for a bunch of years, and it seems as though whoever stays in the organization is going to be the wrong one. You know what I mean? Like the one that we trade away, the one that we go, that's the one that's going to kind of pop. But it always seems like outfielders, we have a ton of them.
Yep. So, Stoltz, what has fundamentally changed since August the 12th? August the 12th, the date on which Walker was originally recalled. You were sitting at 60 and 59, the club was at that point in time. Mm-hmm. He receives the robust number of 11 at-bats, goes back down, continues to rake. That had been the case. That was allegedly the reason as to why he was brought up to the parent club in the first place. He has 8 hits since August 22nd. Your record right now is smack dab at 500. San Diego hasn't exactly gotten any hotter since that point. It hasn't exactly drastically changed the race, that is. So I'm not going to refer to this as reactionary or the product of some other sort of conspiracy, but what has changed? Has he figured out additional wrinkles? Are we now suddenly fine with Walker driving the ball and just hitting it hard as opposed to prioritizing the angle? What has changed? With the exception that Tommy Pham, is this just the proclamation that the experiment or the hope, it failed? You haven't gained traction in the standings formally in the past couple of weeks. The safety blanket is gone, designated for assignment. Now Walker's back, but now all of a sudden, as he should have been doing all along, if you're looking toward the future, now he's playing each and every day, each and every night, regardless of the handedness of the opposing pitcher. What changed?
Tommy Pham. I'll just answer your question. I know that you're posing it, from a standpoint of just like, you're right. Nothing should have changed. Tommy Pham, though, like they brought in Tommy Pham. This goes back to the point that I made at the start of the show and yesterday. They didn't need to trade for Tommy Pham. And don't get me wrong, I like the trade. This has nothing to do with the trade or Tommy Pham. But why they thought they absolutely needed Tommy Pham as part of that deal, or any right-handed hitter. Forget that it's Tommy Pham. Let's just say Donnie's a baseball player, right? And they acquired Donnie Fandango as a right-handed hitter. He's playing with the White Sox. We absolutely need a right-handed hitter. I don't understand why they felt like they needed to give those at-bats to Tommy Pham compared to Jordan Walker, only to turn around a couple of weeks later and, bring up Walker anyways and DFA Tommy Pham. So that was to answer your question directly. I think it was the Pham. That's the thing that changed.
This all just seems so kind of haphazard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it does not seem to be like following a plan per se. It feels like the plan was this, and now the plan. It just doesn't. It's not consistent. How can any of us feel good about what's going on here? And then also too, if you've got these 4 guys that you're all trying to vie for outfield time for, is there simply a way that you can do the lineup every night that one of those guys gets a night? You know what I mean? You play 3 games in a row, you get a night off, and that kind of facilitates the at bats for everybody, or is that just still not enough ABs for those guys?
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, it should be. You would think that it should be, but if I'm the Cardinals, from my standpoint, I want to see them play in every situation. Like, I totally understand you're viewing this, Donnie, as, okay, is there enough ABs to go around so that Siani doesn't get lost in the mix for the rest of the season?
Because he has earned a spot.
Because he's earned the spot. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. So I completely get what you're saying with this. But if I'm the Cardinals, I also want to make sure, okay, I want to see Walker in every situation. I want to see him in close games against a right-hander. I want to see him in close games against a lefty. I want to see him in blowout situations. I want to see him in the first inning. I want to see, I want to see him in every spot, different ballparks, different pitchers, aces, guy that's probably not going to be on their team next year, whatever. Theoretically, yes, but I think they've gotten themselves in trouble by doing this too. We're going to pick and choose. We're going to spot. We're going to spot things up here. Siani's going to play against this hitter because of this situation. And then you look and you're like, oh, we have no continuity in our lineup. The development of these players, there's no continuity with them either. And I think that wheel just keeps spinning.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Spinning. Just my thought on that. John Denton of MLB.com reports that left-handed pitcher Steven Matz, who's dealing with that herniated disc, is with the Cardinals in New York. He will likely be activated on Sunday when rosters expand to 28. I don't mean to be flippant. I really don't. I don't care.
Is it he'll just go to the bullpen, I assume?
Sure. Yeah. I don't care.
You really think so? You really think he's going to the pen?
I mean, who is he going to replace? Because if it's Palante, what message are you sending?
I'm not saying Palante.
Who do you think?
I'm projecting next season's rotation. And think about the individual who has struggled arguably in this rotation the most post-All-Star break. Who else other than Lance Lynn is not going to be here next summer? Steven Matz he's not off the books.
Kyle Gibson, you're talking about? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Waivers? Hey.
Yeah.
Could be an option.
It's an interesting thought. Because you're right. I mean, why would you're not going to bring back Lynn. I don't think you should bring back Kyle Gibson. Nothing against Gibson, but why?
Right.
You've got young options. So Bradford, that makes sense.
So then are you saying that they're starting to build up Mats for the rotation for next year? Then?
Why
so
wouldn't you?
Right?
Yes,
I guess you're right.
Because you already have Fetty locked in. He's not going to be placed on waivers. He is back at a reduced rate. You're telling me that guy who, for your team, is a front-end-ish starter at $7.5 million? He's there. He's steadfast. He's in the mix. Palante has earned his spot, deservedly so. But when you think about, and again, not an affront whatsoever to Kyle Gibson, because for certain stretches in the first half, Kyle Gibson, you can make the contention, not Sonny Gray, actually carried the baton at the head of the rotation. He was that good for a several-week stretch. But this is a pattern. As Alex Ferrario has said countless times on BK and Ferrario, the stats, the numbers, they don't lie. When that calendar turns to late July, August, this has been a propensity of Gibbs since he struggles in the second half. And if you're telling me mid-30s that all of a sudden there's going to be that seed change and he develops into that kind of pitcher at this stage of his career, no. Thank you very much. It was a tremendous run in the first half, and he exceeded expectations for a while. But you are fully now, to me, this endorsement of Walker, all these reports, Anthony, coming out, circulating, stating specifically, explicitly Jordan Walker is playing each and every day. Do you need any other indication as to the direction in which this team now must be headed? You have to do so with an eye on 2025 and beyond. And to me, that means Kyle Gibson, unfortunately, based on what he did in the first half, is no longer in that equation.
But they're still mathematically in it, Bradford. I don't know why you're giving up. All right, we got our sports six-pack. Next, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. Again, sports six-pack. You got any questions for us, send it there, and we'll hit them here in the Fast Lane.
Join 101 ESPN for the second annual Blues and Brews on Friday, September 20th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from country music star Matt Stell and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, 101 giveaways, and more. Tickets are on sale now for Blues and Brews, presented by Bud Light, 101 ESPN, and 92.3 WIL. Get all the details for Blues and Brews at 101ESPN.com. Stay up to date on all things Redbirds with Cardinals broadcaster Brad Thompson as he joins the Fast Lane every Wednesday on 101 ESPN. Go up and in with BT during high heat, powered by Scott Lee Heating Company, your preferred Mitsubishi Electric elite contractor. Visit ScottLeeHeating.com. And by Rawlings. Visit the all-new Rawlings experience at Westport Plaza today. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Tigers pounce on racers. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this SportsCenter update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night at Faurot Field, Mizzou pounded Murray State 51-zip. Brady Cook threw for 200-plus yards. The defense permitted fewer than 100 yards. Buffalo is next at Memorial Stadium on September 7th. The baseball Bronx version, Cardinals draw AL East, leading New York roughly 90 minutes from now. Eric Fetty drawing the starting assignment, looking to build upon Sonny Gray's strong appearance yesterday. St. Louis, of course, split its series versus San Diego. The SportsCenter update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
More of what you want to hear. Sports. This is the Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
I have a question.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
All right, Donnie Fandango filling in for Carey Davis and for Jamie Rivers. Bradford Bruns in for Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Time for our Sports Six-Pack. Question one, please.
Question number one.
Guys, I feel as if we're being baited into this one objectively as much as you can. Look at these two teams on paper and tell me who is primed for the better season in the NFL in 2024. Donnie, those Buffalo Bills, or Mike Tomlin back at the helm yet again? Pittsburgh Steelers, will the Steelers ride with Russ?
Which team is primed for the better season?
Yes.
I still have to think it's Buffalo.
Yeah.
And listen, I respect the Steelers a bunch and Mike Tomlin. And in the playoffs this past year, they gave the Bills a run for their money in that wild card game. But I just still think that this quarterback situation is still too uneven to be able to say that they're going to be better than Buffalo.
Yeah, and I think quite frankly, I think you're being very kind by saying uneven. I think you want to say something worse, and I don't blame you on that.
Well, I mean, you know, I just respect Mike Tomlin's ability to run a team, even a mediocre team, to make it better. But still, I don't think they're in the same conversation.
The running game is going to be better because I think Arthur Smith, their new offensive coordinator, does a really good job in the running game. I think his passing game is one of the worst I've ever seen. And now you've got Russell Wilson, who quite frankly was cooked 2-3 years ago. I don't see it. If Sean Payton can't work with you and Sean Payton can't maximize your talents as a quarterback and can't make you look good, I know people are like, oh, he actually played better. They took the ball out of his hands. I mean, if you really watch those Broncos games, Sean Payton took it out of his hands. I think you're done. And I think if they ran with Justin Fields and just let him run around until he got hurt, he probably would have a better shot. I think things could fall apart for Pittsburgh this year.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think that offense is going to be good.
And this is not immediate revisionist history. I don't think that we're talking enough about Pittsburgh losing, especially considering the quarterback now at the controls, Deontay Johnson, to the Panthers. Can Pickens be the number one, or out of necessity? Is this the best fit for him in the Steel City? I have my doubts.
One thing the Steelers know is wide receivers, so I think George Pickens will be fine. But to your question about whether or not he's going to be a bona fide number one, I don't know. I think they're going to rely on the run game. I think that obviously the defense, they're going to rely on the run game and the defense. But I wonder if this is finally that moment where the defense cracks because they're on the field too long, and Mike Tomlin can't pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Right.
I respect Tomlin.
But you don't think that you don't think that Justin Fields is a guy that can pull it together and become a QB1?
No. I don't think he's a quarterback. Oh, wow. I think he's a dynamic athlete. I think he's a running back. I don't see what I saw out of other mobile quarterbacks in college that like transfers over and becomes like Lamar Jackson to me. People are like, oh, he became a passer last year. He became a passer his final year at Louisville. And I think people just didn't give him the credit, and he was stuck in Greg Roman's system for the last couple of years in Baltimore. And then Todd Monken came in there last year and just said, okay, I trust you as a passer. I thought Lamar was a better passer coming out of Louisville than Justin Fields was a passer coming out of Ohio State. So when I look at like Pittsburgh, and I think Fields should be the starter, but I think we should just view him as what he is. Somebody's going to make mistakes in the passing game, but at any point can run for 40 yards and score, you know? But I do think that Pittsburgh probably finishes third in that division this year because I think the Bengals are going to be better because they're going to have Burrow if he's healthy, and then Baltimore's still a team to beat.
Yep.
And I think Cleveland actually take a step back this year.
I hope so. I just...
Because of Deshaun?
Yes, correct. I can never root for a team that dude is playing on.
Talk about being done. Like, he's done.
Well, and also, too, didn't they did something weird with his cap
They restructured things, but it was his whole contract is guaranteed. It's fully guaranteed. It's the worst contract in NFL history.
And I want to say that this year it takes up like $60 million of the salary cap or something like that.
That
like,
sounds
it's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody for whom you can root, though, I just don't know if you can rely on him anymore. With all due respect, Nick Chubb out of the backfield. You know he's not going to be ready right away, but with such a destructive pair of injuries, I'm just not sure because that's your identity. That's what it is right there.
The injury that he suffered last year, I'm like, he's done like forever. It's amazing to me that he'll be back maybe week 6, maybe week 7. That was the most devastating injury I've ever seen to a running back. And credit him, his strength, his youth, and all that. We're going to see him at some point this year. But you're right, Bradford. It's not just Deshaun Watson not being good. It is Nick Chubb being out for at least the first month and a half.
For me, probably Willis McGahee.
Yeah.
Seeing that.
Oh, yeah, for
Nick
sure.
Chubb.
Yep.
Number 2.
That's a pretty good ranking.
Question number 2.
The Waterboy bringing the heat this afternoon. What are the odds of Neon Dion, Coach Prime, helming the Cowboys next season?
I could see it.
Dude, I mean, I don't like the Cowboys at all, but that would be so awesome. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Prime is coming to the NFL as a head coach, right?
I would think so. And you wonder, too, like the speculation, of course, is that Shedeur Sanders is going to be, in the NFL next year, obviously, and Dion will want to be somewhere.
Right.
And if it's the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, it certainly would make a lot of sense.
Don't get comfortable, Mike McCarthy.
Dak's contract. Dak's contract is up. You can kind of see things falling into place here.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep. They paid CeeDee Lamb. They got to pay Micah Parsons. The whole contract situation with Dak has been a big storyline this offseason. I don't know. It's also it might be too perfect.
Right.
A situation where this is just lining up perfectly, and it never happens that way. Like Mike Vrabel going back to New England when he was fired by Tennessee. Well, Mike Vrabel, this is perfect. He's going to go to New England, and he's going to be the next coach. And no, he's not even in the NFL as a head coach. So when things line up too perfectly, it probably doesn't happen.
Here's why I'm liking the rationale, though. Think about the last 2 longtime Cowboys head coaches. I'm not also of the opinion so many people are that right now Jerry Jones, while he isn't riding off into the sunset, he's content to just rest on the laurels, rest on the brand name. Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy. You couldn't have at least the perception, media-wise, viewing it through that lens, 2 more milquetoast candidates, right? Mm-hmm. The razzle-dazzle, the luster. How do you restore it after what could be another disappointing campaign in the NFC? Coach Prime. The sizzle. Makes too much sense.
You don't get much more sizzle than that, too, man. I mean, that is a high level of sizzle.
Are you a Dion? So, I know you're talking to somebody that is a Falcon fan because of Dion. Were you a Dion fan?
No.
Okay.
No, I and here's why I'm lame. Because when he had when he had the issue with Tim McCarver in the clubhouse when he was with the Braves, because I was a huge Tim McCarver guy.
Yeah.
But that said, I loved watching him as a player. I just was never a fan. He was never on a team that I rooted for.
Yeah.
But I just find what he is doing and how he is doing it completely fascinating. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't root against him. I think it's a really fun thing to watch.
Sure.
I just wonder, though, is that team going to work out? Is that team just going to be 500 this year for him? That sort of thing.
I mean, here's the thing, too, and this is, when you're that brash and you're that confident and you're that cocky, people want to see you fail. I'm not putting you in this category, Donnie. I'm actually going to make a bigger point about the media. You get the sense now, maybe not traditional media, but the podcasters, the analysts, they're all waiting for this guy to fall and hoping that he fails. Mm-hmm. And when you look back last year when they started off 3-0 and, it was all the Dion show, you tend to forget that they only won one more game. Like they went 4-8, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Last night didn't look pretty. That was against North Dakota State. And I believe that was in Boulder, too, if I remember correctly, right?
Home game.
Yeah, it was a home game, Thursday night. That was like the game. No offense to Mizzou against Murray State and then, Illinois and Eastern Illinois. That was like the game in college football last night. So you had all this attention, and you look kind of people are rooting for him to fail. So to your question of I'm interested to see if it works, he has used the transfer portal as his own like buffet. Mm-hmm. And he had a bunch of transfers go in and go out, and a bunch of transfers now come in. And he is yet, as athletic and as fun as the skill possession players are, he has yet to address the lines. And to me, you can't win that way.
You never can. Right? I mean, ever.
This thing completely fall apart this year.
And isn't it interesting how, to at least some degree, that rock star aura on campus in Boulder, it's disappeared somewhat this season. Last year, when you had the first wave of success and we were shocking the world, shocking the nation, all of the Fox games, the networks wanted Colorado left and right. And to some extent, you still have the same early in 2024. But there's much more blowback now, and he certainly, from a national perspective, hasn't exactly helped himself or endeared himself to those who actually look at or put more stock into some sense of decorum, frankly, in that setting. You can't pick and choose to whom you're going to speak on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. You can't just address certain subjects because it's convenient for you, and yet others need to be immediately put under the rug because you are Deion Sanders and you are the face. You are the name at the head of the program. Shouldn't work that way.
Well, I definitely did not like what they're currently doing with that Denver Post.
Oh, yeah.
Reporter.
It's in his contract, too. They gave Deion complete autonomy there.
Which is no surprise. I just don't think that it's, I'm with you. You're not going to make very many friends doing it that way.
No,
that's for sure.
Right. All right, we're going to continue our Sports Six-Pack next here on 101 ESPN.
College football is back on ESPN this Sunday. LSU and USC pregame at 6, kickoff at 6:30. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN. ESPN has your shot to score a pair of tickets to the Blues home opener against the Wild, October 15th at Enterprise Center. Blues hockey is right around the corner, and single game tickets for the 2024-25 season are on sale now. Don't miss exciting new theme nights and can't miss giveaways this season. Get all the details and enter to win a free pair of tickets for the Blues home opener now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. Two pros and one average show. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
I have a question.
It's time for The Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
All right, we'll continue our Sports Six-Pack. Donnie Fandango of 105.7 The Point and The Arch, our sister stations, joining us for the full show today, and it's been a lot of fun. This show has flown by. But, Donnie, we're not done, okay?
No, we got more work to do.
Damn right we do. Third question, please.
Question number 3.
Guys, referencing a topic from a couple of segments ago, the 636 posits, why are we talking or throwing out the possibility of Kyle Gibson maybe losing his spot for Steven Matz when the latter is ready, instead of looking at one Miles Michaelis?
Yeah. Did you guys want to say this at the same time? Or, and Donnie, maybe I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. I'm not exactly sure, but I would just assume it's because he's probably not very good. Or he's not pitching well.
I was thinking of a word starts with a C. Or M. Yeah.
Money?
Yep.
Cash.
Contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's making a ton of dough.
There you go. He's got the contract. Right. So that is why.
How many more years?
Just one more.
Okay, good.
Did I say that out loud?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not here every day. I feel like I got a little bit more carte blanche there.
Well, we say it too. And we just wait to hear from the team. Matz and Michaelis, one more year left on their current contracts. If it were me, and hey, it's not my money, I don't have to do this, but I would eat both contracts and I would bid them both adieu. What more do you need to see? Like Miles Michaelis last year was a roller coaster from hell. Mm-hmm. You know, it was just one moment. It was riding the Screaming Eagle when you think you're going to fly out. And the next was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then the next month, again, death. So it really has, it's improved a little bit from a consistency standpoint, but Miles Michaelis is kind of who he is at this point. And you've got young guys in the minors that probably are either ready or right there. So when going back to your, let's just do this over again, or not again, excuse me, let's just tear it down. To me, a tear down would include bringing up those young guys, getting the experience, take your lumps, maybe out lightning in a bottle, and moving forward with the youth. But you'd have to eat those two contracts.
Do you think that a tear down is possible in this offseason? I do not. I realistically do not think that it's going to happen. I think they're going to try to Band-Aid it. I really do.
100%. I think the Cardinals don't view it that way. I think they view it as, we'll just, is that mold behind the drywall? It's fine. Little bleach. We'll redo the drywall, and we're good.
New coat of paint.
Well, exactly. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing that for years. And either they're trying to convince us that they think that everything's fine, or they really believe everything will be fine if they do it that way. And meanwhile, that mold is just growing and growing and growing. Take the damn thing to the studs.
That's right.
And let's do this right.
How far we have fallen since he made that opening day start against Los Angeles. Yeah. In all seriousness, though, that was out of necessity. If you're being extremely generous here, he is a back half of the rotation starter for some major league teams. In your case, you mentioned the key terminology there, Stultz. Are you going to eat it? Are you going to be on the hook for that contract? I just don't see it being in the cards. Whereas, if you look at the state of the young guys, as you referenced to, are you really telling me that a Michael McGreevy, a Gordon Graceffo, heck, this is a pie-in-the-sky idea. Quinn Matthews jumped, 5 levels during the course of this year? Mm-hmm. could not fare better than an 8-10 record with a 5.23 ERA with a 0 swing and miss.
Amen.
Yeah.
Man, and plus,
amen.
I'd rather see the kids.
Amen.
I'm more likely to pay for a ticket to go see the kids with a team that I don't think has a big prospect of winning right now.
Yeah.
Just to see. This is going to make me mad again. It just bums me out.
I know.
It just feels like a complete disaster.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like I'm just over exaggerating and overreacting and saying that.
No, you're not. You're actually, Donnie, and we know because we do this every day, you are now in the majority of how Cardinals fans feel. To me, it's such... I don't know if patronizing is the right word, but I feel like the Cardinals are almost patronizing. Like, we expect to win. Here's, no offense to these guys, but here's Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. You're welcome, Cardinals fans.
Yeah.
Well, Cardinals fans are like, hey, we're fine with the kids. We'd rather see that. If you're going to be a 500 team, at least you're building for something.
What you have done over the course of the last, however many years that the Cardinals have been an organization, you have raised a community on baseball.
Yeah.
Most of us, a lot of us are baseball people. So we know the BS that you're trying to pull.
Right.
We're smarter than that. We
Yeah.
see what you're doing.
Question 4, please.
Question number 4.
The Grant Francis fan club, hope you listen today from 11 to 2. He stays on brand and he asks, guys, why not waive Goldschmidt so one, he can actually play for a contender the rest of the way. You clear the rest of his salary, and Burleson or Walker would do just fine for the rest of this year and 2025.
I have no rebuttal on that. I think it's a perfect statement.
That's fine.
I think it's a perfect statement. And look, I've got a lot of bad ideas, Donnie, and I'm often wrong. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Last trade deadline, I said I would trade Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
And people wanted they wanted to see my death certificate. But that was the time to do it because you didn't know what he was going to be this season. You didn't know if the age was going to hold up because Father Time comes for us all.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought his value will not be higher than it is right now. And he's got a no-trade clause, so he'd have to waive it, but you were in the midst of a horrible season last year. I thought then was the time to at least say, hey, Goldie, we're thinking about trading you, big guy. You're going to go to a contender. What do you think? They didn't. They held on to him, and this year has been nothing short of a disaster when it comes to, unfortunately, Goldie, who I highly respect.
I loved him so much.
But,
I was so stoked when they got him here, but it's over.
Yes, it is. It is.
Alec Burleson,
I agree with what they just said.
Yeah, and he has started a grand total of 4 games this month. We're at the end of the month. 4 games at first base. If he's not getting more run than that, I doubt that we're going to see it in September. Really do.
Question number 5.
And number 5 from the 314. Guys, what is better? Which do you prefer of these options? The Hockey Winter Classic, baseball's opening day, or football on Turkey Day?
I'm going to probably disappoint a lot of people here. I'm sorry, but to me, the entire Thanksgiving weekend is funny. We were just talking. We were doing the thing where you're around. We're around the dinner table and the kids, and we're talking about like favorite times of year. And I said, there might be nothing better than Thanksgiving Day rolled into that Black Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, because it is not only the football games, but we always put up the Christmas tree on that Friday. On Saturday, I always hang the lights outside. Now that the kids are old enough to get excited about Christmas and really know what's going on, that to me is my absolute favorite 4 days.
Also, too, I will tell you why. Because I will be bringing home from my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house a gigantic bag of turkey that I will take with me and I will eat over the course of those next few days while I am watching all of that glorious football.
I missed the football. Or I'm sorry, I missed the food element of that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's one of the very best things. And then a lot of times I'm locked into the game so I don't have to pay attention to family. And that's also a good thing, too.
Yeah, that's Donnie Fandango.
I guess I shouldn't
he said that.
I just say good thing. I didn't mean to say that.
These mics still work, even though you're in 101 studios.
Listen, my wife knows. I mean, she knows it's happening. It's just me saying it out loud. That's the only difference.
She probably appreciates your honesty at this point. Yep. No, I love that week. What about you, Bradford?
It's hard to beat Turkey Day. As you said, Anthony, for a lot of the same reasons. You're in that stage, obviously, where you're celebrating and you're commemorating everything there with family, with friends, and so forth. And yet you have that eye on Christmas. It's right there on the immediate horizon. And to me, as far as holidays are concerned in the power rankings, you can't get much better than. It seems predictable. It seems cliche and trite, but Christmas, Thanksgiving, however you want to prioritize them, 1 and 2. And so that anticipation and the payoff at the same time, can't beat it.
Thomas says nothing better. Thomas from the Snake Pit, nothing better than entering that food coma with footballs on. Yeah.
And you drift
well
off.
said, Thomas.
You drift off to that nap, and you wake up, and the game's still going on. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, you got the three, just because you got 3 NFL games. Now, last year, you had college football on that Friday, and usually college football at that point, like, things are starting to really ramp up. And then you had a NFL game on Friday last year. I think it was the Dolphins and Jets. So that was a rough one, but still, you got football.
Yeah.
Saturday, the college football games. Sunday, NFL games. Like, shut the front door. That's a great time.
With food.
With food.
Yep.
Yeah. And I really have to be on my game this year because the Battle Line rivalry is back in Columbia, so I can't really slip into that coma to the same sort of extent. You've got Mizzou, Arkansas. Mizzou may well need that victory. And, hey, you don't want to take it for granted because then you're setting up for that CFP, are you not?
There you go. Damn right you are. This year you are. Yep. Yeah.
It's unbelievable that that's a part of our conversation, that it could be a part of our conversation. That's awesome.
That's Donnie Fandango. I'm Anthony Stalter. Bradford Bruns here filling in for Andrew Marsh. Has the Band-Aid approach finally blown up in the Cardinals' faces? I'll explain what the Band-Aid approach is. Although I think we're kind of already talking about that. So we'll just reiterate some of the things that you already know and to make you sad, Cardinal fans. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Get signed up to play in this year's Fast Lane Pick'em Challenge at 101ESPN.com. Show off your football knowledge all season long and see if you can defeat the Fast Lane and the dudes from the Rizzuto Show on the point for the weekly top score. It's the Fast Lane and the Riz Show throwing down all football season long in the Pick'em Challenge. Get signed up to play now at 101ESPN.com. Refreshed by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Hear every St. Louis Blues game right here. WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN. Don't pull over. You're in the fast lane. Broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
501, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Donnie Fandango in for the guys, Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Bradford Bruns pinch hitting today for Andrew Marsh. Has the Band-Aid approach finally blown up in the Cardinals' favor? Pick your favorite metaphor or analogy when it comes to the Cardinals. They all apply. We've been using the drywall analogy today. You got mold behind the drywall, to hell with it. Just repatch the drywall, new paint, you're good. You're not good. The mold's still there. It's still there. It's still ruining your house. You actually have to fix the problem. You have not. The Band-Aid approach with this, analogy would be, okay, the leg at this point has to come off. You can't keep applying the Neosporin and the Band-Aid. Last offseason, it was Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn and Matt Carpenter and Brandon Crawford to varying degrees, right? Like Brandon Crawford wasn't necessarily a Band-Aid as much as just like, hey, if Mason Wynn isn't any good early on and we have to send him down, we need something. Mm-hmm. So I kind of understood that one. Matt Carpenter, veteran leadership. Lance Lynn, veteran leadership. And, hey, we need a pitcher. I think they spun the pitchers as like, we fill the need. No, you patched a hole.
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference. And if all you're doing is patching holes, Donnie, it's not going to work.
No.
You're going to get what you get now. Because if you patch holes with guys, again, I have the ultimate respect for Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, but if you're going to patch holes with guys that are either average or below average, what do you think you're going to get in production?
And I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I think
that's the devastating part.
That's the frustrating part, is that it is going to be another offseason of regretful things that the GM and the president of baseball operations say. I don't see them doing what is necessary, and that's like we've said 3 times today, and that's tear this thing down. That's where we are. That's where we need to be, and not just player-wise, too. Player personnel, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it needs to be completely reworked.
Well, yeah, because you had talked before the show about Jeff Luhnow, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe some of the problems stem from the fact that Jeff Luhnow went to Houston, and Randy Flores, I think, has done a pretty admirable job of drafting. Mason Wynn has worked out. Brandon Donovan has worked out. Varying degrees of like Lance Nootbaar, Tommy Edman. Like those guys worked out. Those guys count. Randy Rosarina counts. You add them.
Yep, I guess you're right.
Sandy Alcantara, Zach Allen. Like these guys at some point were in your organization, but there's this huge disconnect then when it comes to what happens when they're in the minor leagues and they're ready to pop to the major leagues. I don't think it's all coaching. The player has to take some responsibility
Absolutely.
too. But to your overall point, like there's some sort of disconnect that's happening here, and you're behind the times. I think when Dave Duncan and when he retired and Tony La Russa left the organization, you did lose a lot of what we call and refer to as the Cardinal way. Mm-hmm. I think that we didn't notice it right away because of Yadi. Yadi erased a lot of the issues you could have had with your pitching staff. Mm-hmm. Look at even Jordan Montgomery. Like Jordan Montgomery was a 4th starter for the Yankees, guy that took the ball every 5 days, workhorse dude, never going to win a Cy Young, but the floor was high too. Low ceiling, high floor, cool. He gets here, and all of a sudden, the Texas Rangers want him in a trade. He winds up winning a World Series, and, he probably should have commanded a lot more than what he got. He's been horrendous for the Diamondbacks. Horrendous. I think about how much impact Yadi had with him, how much impact Yadi has had with all of the pitchers you have had throughout the years here.
Yeah.
And how much he erased, Donnie.
Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to ask, and I don't know that this is true to form, but from what I understand, the Cardinals do not have, or at least for a while, had not had a roving catching instructor, like the Dave Ricketts used to do, where he would go from every level, and you would sort of have this I don't know, like the book of how the Cardinals did their catchers.
Yeah.
And
Mike Schilt used to has the George Kissel here. This is how the game is played.
Sure. Yeah. So to me, to find out that a position that is as critically important as the catcher, and you don't have that in your organization anymore. I know that's a small thing, but why?
Right.
Why would you not? I'm sure that Yachty learned a lot of that Cardinal way through the Ricketts guys. And I'm not even saying that it has to necessarily be Cardinal players showing the Cardinal way, but there needs to be somebody that's going from level to level, from tier to tier in the organization, and trying to make sure that things are as uniform as they can be, that we're showing the guys the right way to do things. And I absolutely do not think that exists. And that, to me, is another, just gigantic red flag.
Doesn't it feel, Donnie, like there used to be substance, and now it is just kind of surface level, facade?
Yeah, I think as much as anything, I feel as a Cardinal fan taken for granted. I feel as though that they think that I should be a lot happier than I currently am.
Based on history.
And based on history, and I don't particularly think that that's right.
So I got in Bradford's ear here because I wanted him to pull something up, and what you just said actually works perfectly.
Okay.
You know our guy Greg Amsinger, who's on the MLB Network, Lindenwood alum, incredible dude, instant offense, comes on the opening drive with Randy Carricker, Dan McLaughlin, and Brooke Grimsley throughout the baseball season.
Yeah.
We played this and discussed this yesterday because he said this when he was asked by Randy Carricker about the low attendance. I want you to hear it because I don't think you've heard it. And what you just said about, I should feel grateful. I wonder how this is going to.
I read a little bit of this, but I didn't see the whole quote.
Okay.
And I was already annoyed by it. So let's go.
Greg Amsinger yesterday on the opening drive.
It kind of makes me mad. I'm not even kidding you. It kind of makes me mad because when I was a kid growing up, when Bernard Gilkey, Ray Langford, and Brian Jordan were young outfielders and the Cardinals were losing a ton, there were at least 30,000 fans in the seats every night. I was going as many times as possible with my mom and dad. And to watch this product get no support at all, and here they are hovering around 500. I mean, I hate saying it, but I heard what Don Orsillo and Mudcat Grant said during the Padres broadcast the other night when they were in St. Louis, and I kind of agree. This is not the St. Louis that I'm used to seeing. And when I talk to my friends who are quote-unquote loyal Cardinal fans, they're kind of angry. They're like, this isn't a product I want to support. I'm a paying customer. I pay for these guys' salaries, which is the most – when a fan says that to me, it drives me absolutely crazy. Like, now, you wouldn't really feel what it feels like to pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary. We can do this as a demo on live TV over the course of a year. We'll garnish your wages, and you will pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary so you can actually say that to me. Drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. But anyway, I listen. I try to have patience, and there's so much vitriol right now. I don't get it. We are the best fans in baseball. We are. Right now, it's a bad performance. It looks like Cardinal fans are in an 0 for 12 slump right now. They can dig themselves out of it. There's still a month left. But right now, Cardinal fans, you're not hitting above 200. And that is a very sad thing to say.
Hi. Welcome to tone deaf statements from people that, and I like that guy a lot.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy.
A lot. But that is a gigantic load of horse crap. Listen, let me tell you something. First of all, 20 years ago at Old Busch Stadium, I could go and take my kids and not spend $6 billion.
Right.
One. Number two, oh my gosh, why should fans go out of their way to support that product that where we feel as though that we have, for lack of a better term, been jerked around for the last handful of years by this front office? Feel as though that the money down there is what's important for Ballpark Village and all of the things around it, but the team can kind of be secondary because we kind of know that they're going to come anyway. So what people have come to the realization is, oh, wait, they're not really trying as hard to win as I thought they were. They just wanted my money for all of these other things. Well, then I'm not going to go back until they want to win as bad as I want to win. And I hated every single part of what Amsinger just said. I don't think that I necessarily pay for Goldschmidt's salary, but I do.
Yeah.
Dude, money has been the one thing that has been a big issue over the course of the last year in our household. With the way the radio's going, with the way that things work, I'm just not bringing home the money in which that I was before. So when we do make a choice to go to dinner, to go to an amusement park, to go to a movie, that is not a decision that I make lightly, man, because I don't know when I'm going to have that jack to do again. Right. So when I hear this guy call out Cardinal fans, that is not fair. And I was there during that time, too. I was here in St. Louis in those 90s Cardinals teams that were bad, but they weren't like this. It was not like this. It didn't feel like this. If I'm not mistaken, I still had Ozzie Smith. I still probably had Willie McGee in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. I still had something that directly connected me to those fantastic teams. And that to me is somebody that takes for granted that he can go to the ballpark anytime that he wants, that he can take his family to games anytime that he wants. Because a family that does not have a lot of money is not going, and they shouldn't go and pay for something when somebody's not giving them the best in return. That pisses me off a lot. And I feel like he might have been talking to me. Well, keep on talking, homeboy, because I'm not going back anytime soon. Not until there is a major sea change in how this organization operates and talks to the fans. I'm not an idiot. I might be overly passionate, but I'm a good baseball fan. I know what I'm talking about, and the product that you've been giving us is crap, and we're tired of paying for crap. Oh, my God. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell.
One, well said, well done. Tanisha in the Snake Pit goes, I like this better than Ranthony, LOL. Tanisha, what the hell? That was.
How tone deaf does that sound, Anthony?
Donnie?
I don't think I understand what he's trying to say. Mm-hmm. I really do. I get it. I get that this team hovering around 500, but hovering around 500 in 2024 doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I just that bothers me a lot.
Do you know what the term I used yesterday on these airwaves was? Tone deaf. I completely agree.
Completely.
It was, and I love Greg. I used to book him for this very show when I was a producer 10 years ago. It's got nothing to do with him. It's got everything to do with his take. He sounds like somebody has been really detached from the actual situation, detached and tone deaf to what's going on, and to throw it back on fans. And the thing that really got me. And I'm removed now. Like yesterday, I was kind of ticked off and annoyed. Now, after I've heard it 3 times, I'm more like it's laughable when he goes, and people aren't showing up. They're right around 500. What? What? You expect fans to show up to support a 500 team when they were dog crap a year ago and basically did nothing this offseason to improve outside of Sonny Gray?
And we know the trajectory here.
Yeah,
there is no trajectory.
What are you talking about?
So what I'm gonna do is that I am going to hustle through the course of my day, do a zillion things so that I can get downtown, make sure that I park in a garage, because if I don't, who knows what's gonna happen to my car and what I'm gonna have to deal with there. And I don't like talking bad about downtown. I feel like that is something that is just used too often, but I believe that it is a legit thing that keeps people from going down there. So I got to go down there. I got to park into a garage. I got to pay for it. If I'm going down there at any point in the evening, my kids are going to need to eat. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no way I'm getting out of that thing, even without tickets for $100. I'm
Easily.
Not doing that.
Yeah.
If the team does not care about if they win or not, right. We'll just do something else. Mm-hmm. Period. There's lots of other things to do. And if I'm going to save my money, I'll save my money for Blues tickets. Thank you very much.
Well said. That's Donnie Fandango. Bradford, there's times during a game in which sometimes you have to have the right play call.
That's right.
We were not expected to play the Amsinger thing, but I thought if we could just wind Donnie up just a little bit, especially in the 5 o'clock hour, well, we just threw a touchdown.
That's understanding the assignment.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm mad. I am.
Yes.
That just ticks me off.
You made fantastic points too. It's not just your ranting and venting.
Like it's just like this is somehow our fault for not supporting this nonsense. Get out of here. That is ridiculous.
Right. It's the scene from I forget the movie now. Vince Vaughn is in it, and Jon Favreau's in it.
Swingers?
No. It's like one of the many movies they're in, right? They go on vacation, and they wind up in
Couples Retreat.
Couples Retreat.
Didn't see that one.
And Vince Vaughn looks at it's okay, right? Like I like Vince Vaughn.
But I know my Reese Witherspoon movies.
Nice job. Yeah. Was she in that? I don't even think she was. That was perfect.
Aniston.
Yeah. Was she in that? Was Jennifer Aniston in that? I don't even think she was either. Anyways, he looks at Jon Favreau and he's like, listen, now's not the time to point fingers. You're the problem. You're a big problem. I felt like that's what Amsinger just did. He's like, listen, I'm a little disappointed. I'm not blaming anybody. You're the problem, Cardinals fans. Like, what? In what worlds? In what worlds? All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Donnie's going to stay right there. He's going to Donnie idles at 75, as Bill Burr would say. He idles at 75. That's pretty okay. True. So now that we've got him revved up, what do you want to do? You want to do Cardinals? You want to do Blues? You want to do NFL? Your call, Donnie.
Well, let's do some NFL.
NFL 4 Downs next on 101 ESPN.
Kickstart your mornings with the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Get in the know first on everything St. Louis sports with Brooke Grimsley, Dan McLaughlin, and Randy Carricker. The opening drive, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 101 ESPN.
The opening drive is presented by Sumner One.
yourself in. You're in the fast lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN.
All right, time for NFL 4 Downs here in the fast lane on 101 ESPN with Donnie Fandango and our guy Bradford Bruns. I'm Anthony Stalter. Hey, don't forget you can get signed up to play this year's Fastlane Pick'em Challenge at 101ESPN.com. Make your football picks each week and see if you can defeat us here in the Fastlane, as well as the Riz Show, 105.7 The Point, our sister station. Of course, you can hear Donnie each and every day on The Point as well. But we're going to be throwing down with the Riz Show throughout the football season in our Pick'em Challenge. We do this every year. It's a lot of fun. Get signed up to play now at 101ESPN.com. I think they're going to have prizes and things like that each week.
I don't understand why the Riz Show doesn't ask me to help them.
Yeah, right.
Because, I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean against any of those people on the show. Riz, Moon, they're all awesome. Learn, Rafe, King Scott, they're awesome. Yeah. But I know football better than all of them. I would think that I would be an asset to their team, but I guess not.
Well, I'll tell you what it is from that show, and it doesn't surprise me because it's pretty true throughout everything. Arrogant, stubborn.
I can't get in the middle of this one.
Donnie.
But
right? Arrogant, stubborn.
Pretentious?
Yes. Definitely.
I like the
definitely
syllables.
Pretentious.
You know this.
That's why I was waiting. I was looking at you. Bradford's my thesaurus. Okay. What do you got for 4 downs, Bradford?
First down.
Gentlemen, it comes out today. So in anticipation of next Thursday's NFL opener, the Chiefs, the Ravens rematch of the AFC title game from January, Marquise Hollywood Brown will not suit up for that contest. However, his head coach Andy Reid says the receiver's progress from his recent injury sustained has been rather incredible. So he dislocated his shoulder actually in Chiefs preseason action, and yet the Chiefs, without Kadarius Toney, they just have a bounty of options at wide receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's back in the mix. But for me personally, it's going to be intriguing to see not only Rice out there, but what are you going to witness from Worthy, the first-round pick out of Texas? Anthony, I am psyched to see Patrick Mahomes and company go to work this year.
It's weird. To me, like, Marquise Brown is kind of a nothing burger for me. I don't know why. Obviously, he's got the speed. He's got plenty of talent. But when a guy bounces around and we still think like, oh, well, this will be the time. It reminds me of, sorry, Rams fans, but Tavon Austin. I remember saying myself, like, wait until Tavon Austin gets with somebody who's a good play caller. And then he wound up with Sean McVay at one point. I'm like, oh, no, he can't play. Like, he just can't. I wonder if Marquise Brown, maybe this is the year because it'll be with Andy Reid. I'm more excited to see what Xavier Worthy does, the speedster, as well as Rice in now his second year. Because they didn't use, Rice kind of came along slowly. Right. And then the second half, you're like, oh, he's a number one. Maybe not from the standpoint of, like, obviously Justin Jefferson or whatever. So I don't know if Marquise Brown's going to have a big year this year.
And I don't think he needs to.
No.
You know what I mean?
Point.
I mean, they're Patrick Mahomes can make anybody that's, maybe not the best even better. And I think with Xavier Worthy, with that draft pick, I think that they're going to be just fine whether he's there or not there.
And I wonder, too, if Worthy, it's going to be the same thing with, like, Rice. He's going to have big moments. He's going to have some highlights. But he's just not going to be utilized that much in the offense maybe until the second half. Because you still have Kelsey there. You still have Rice. Isaiah Pacheco is going to get his carries.
I just cannot imagine, if you are new to the league, how much or how you keep information overload from taking over your brain. You know what I mean? I would think
as a rookie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it would just take you a minute before you can do things without thinking about them.
Right.
But once he gets there, it looks, Worthy especially looks like he's going to be something.
I still, do you ever watch, we're kind of talking about this off air, but like the Netflix does the series, right? Like they've got the Untolds, but they also have, they just released Receiver.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I think Receiver was better than quarterback.
I have not watched him yet.
Okay. As a football fan, I think you really like him, right? Because they dive into like the players' off-field stuff too, which is great. Mm-hmm. But in quarterback, there is one little episode that they do, and this was with Mariota, Kirk Cousins, and Mahomes, where they talk about the language. And Kirk Cousins is listening on his drive home and to the stadium or the practice field, the play calls, because he'll get the play call from Kevin O'Connell, and then he's got to obviously reiterate it back to the huddle. Mm-hmm. And they show it as he's driving, and he's saying it back, so whatever it is, a long sentence. But then they show him in the huddle saying it. And the thing that I noticed right away, Donnie, was once the running back heard what they had to do and the wide receiver, they start breaking out. But I thought about that from Cousins and all the quarterback standpoint. You have to know all of that. So it might be, 101 ESPN, Donnie, Bandana 2. All you're listening for is the Donnie part.
Right.
But as a quarterback, I have to know every aspect of that. So now going back to what you said about the rookies, imagine being a quarterback. You're trying to play the game, new city, likely, new teammates, new offense, new language, high expectations. You better save the franchise. Holy smokes. And on top of that, you're reading a dictionary.
It just gives you, when teams have the opportunity to draft a guy and let him sit and watch. I mean, when you are afforded that sort of, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like when these guys get thrown in the mix right away, that the results aren't always fantastic, and certainly not early on. It takes them a while. There's not very many C.J. Strouds seemingly that are going around.
It's amazing when Stroud does it, or Joe Burrow before he got hurt, where you're like, oh damn, this guy can play.
Yeah.
But anyways, that stood out to me.
Second down.
Guess who gets to sit and watch momentarily, at least? It would be Drake May, the North Carolina product in New England. He has not been tabbed as the starting quarterback to begin the 2024 season. Gerard Mayo instead going with the veteran Jacoby Brissett. Certainly has received a lot of action in his career. Has started for a good stretch of time with both Indy and Cleveland. Guys, we both understand that New England isn't exactly playing on the same playground, as the other competitors in the AFC East. But as far as the long-term development as far as what New England is aspiring to do this season with really a makeshift assembly of talent right now, week number 1, we see so many guys, so many high first-round picks immediately being thrust into the action. For New England, right here, right now, is this actually the proper move?
100%.
I mean, I would absolutely think
so. Throw Jacoby Brissett to the Wolves. You signed him for this exact reason.
I mean, so that the rookie can learn.
Yep.
So that Jacoby could take a beating, essentially,
unfortunately for him, yes,
and it not be the rookie that's taking that beating.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like it's a really good setup for the kid.
You don't get the Sam Darnold I'm seeing ghost moment, for Drake May. So I think it's the only move. I do think he'll play by week 6. I think it's going to be one of those situations. And by that point, okay, at least you got him acclimated a little bit. Mm-hmm. But this is absolutely the right move. When they were talking about Drake May possibly starting week 1, I was like, wow, good luck, kid. You may ruin him right out of the gates.
Right.
But I think this is the right call.
Third down.
Earlier in the show, we touched upon this news a tad. So Miami reaches a 3-year contract extension with its head coach, Mike McDaniel. He is locked in place, certainly for, or at least through, the 2028 season. Miami, though, it's kind of hard to believe that the Dolphins have not registered a playoff victory since the 1999 season, as Mr. Fandango gloats, as well he should. Why, though? For all of the regular season heroics, the vertical attacks last year, you couldn't step outside without hearing about the Miami Dolphins offense. Regular season, postseason, why is this the guy to ultimately get them back to some semblance of success when the playoffs arrive?
I don't know if he is, but I like McDaniel. I like the offense. It's fun. I brought this up before. You watch some teams in college football. Like, remember when Texas Tech had Michael Crabtree and they had Bradford? You'd help me with this. Who was the quarterback? Was it Harrell for Texas Tech? Graham Harrell.
Yeah.
Was he there when Michael Crabtree was there?
They crossed over.
Okay.
For how many seasons, I don't recall.
Like Texas Tech, we started getting the top 10. You're like, hot damn, Texas Tech is fun. You knew they weren't going to do anything as the season wore on. They were just fun. They had a wide open offense, no defense. I think Miami, in fairness, has a little, their defense is actually better. I think people give it credit for, but they're a lot of fun first half of the season. I don't think that this is a roster that's built to win in the second half and against better defenses.
How do you feel about Tua as a franchise quarterback?
In that offense, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
If you put him, he is not, and I'm not going on a limb by saying this, he is not Mahomes, Burrow, what Tom Brady was, what Aaron Rodgers is, where it's like, that's the offense. It was Tom Brady's offense that went to Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers' offense is now with the Jets. It's not, Mahomes can go anywhere, and it's like, that's the Mahomes offense. Tua needs to fit in that one because he can attack the middle of the field. He's going to have guys wide open because McDaniel schemes it that way. It's like Brock Purdy. I don't know if Brock Purdy has success in a lot of other places.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He has success there because he's perfect for what Kyle Shanahan wants his quarterbacks to do. I'm fine with it there. If it's another offense, it's like, Tua's got to learn a new offense. He'll be fine. No, it's not going to work.
Got it.
In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth down.
And finally, the Dallas Cowboys is becoming a trend, it appears, annual basis for one Dalvin Cook. He is inked to a practice squad deal in Big D now, and it's not as though the Cowboys have this surplus of top-line backs. Really, does it boil down to, guys, later in the season, in that division, in the East, as the Cowboys are trying to get vertical, and you would seem to think Dak, CeeDee Lamb doing their respective things. The fact that you have Ezekiel Elliott, Rico, and a host of bodies, Dalvin Cook or not, will that actually, the lack of a ground game with substance, prove to be the undoing, not the turmoil with respect to contracts? Will that be the undoing for the Cowboys in 2024?
Oh, so what you're saying is the actual football and not all the things that people are complaining about. Yeah, then yes, I would say that. I don't know. I love Zeke. I mean, obviously local product, and but
how much gas is left in the tank?
It's crazy too. I think he's only 28. But
my gosh.
But you're absolutely right. It just didn't. There's a reason why Tony Pollard was kept a couple of years ago. Now, he had the injury and he wasn't the same back. But when you could tell when it was that timeshare, Zeke did his thing, but Pollard was the home run hitter. Who's your Pollard now? Is it Dowell?
They're hoping so.
Because it's not Dalvin Cook, I can tell you that much.
Zeke was featured rather heavily down the stretch for New England last season. What does that say about that team?
Right.
Zeke was featured.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Again, I love Zeke, but I think he needs to be in a committee, and I think he needs to be the RB2.
I was really hoping that he would come to Buffalo and be a part of the... That
would have been a nice fit.
Absolutely so.
Yep. We'll see. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got biggest question of the day next. Mosby Building Arts needs to be your first and only call when it comes to bathroom remodels, because as of right now, they have 3 different ways for you to save on your bathroom remodel. 10% off all bathroom projects, or no payment for 12 months, or payments as low as $200 a month. 3 different options just because you called 314-909-1800 or visit them at callmosby.com. When it comes to going smart and classic, you're looking at different tubs and showers and different ways to upgrade your master bathroom or any bathroom within your home. Mosby Building Arts, they take the care to make sure that you love you're going to love the look of your bathroom. But when it comes to the communication, Mosby's off the charts. It starts off with them taking the proper measurements in your home. They have the design team that comes out, lays out your options, and helps you build and design the perfect bathroom for you. When it comes then to the project starting, they wait until all the materials are in-house before they get started. That way you don't suffer any delays throughout the process. They're also not adding on costs throughout the course of your project like some other companies or contractors might do. Mosby, they do it right the first time. And like I said, 3 different ways to save on a completely new shower and bathroom remodel. 10% off bathroom projects, no payments for 12 months, or the payments as low as $200 a month. That phone number again, 314-909-1800. Call Mosby.com is the website. Tell them Stalter sent you. Mosby Building Arts, the right remodeling company.
opening drive, the balloon party, BK and Ferrario, to the fast lane and more. If you missed anything on 101 ESPN today, get caught up with all the shows and 101 podcasts at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Driven by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Mizzou mauls its first foe. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this SportsCenter update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Thursday in Columbia, number 11 Missouri dominated Murray State 51-0. The Tigers nearly put 500 yards of total offense on the board. Next weekend brings a matchup against visiting Buffalo. Baseball next hour, Eric Fetty and St. Louis square off versus AL East best New York. Jordan Walker recalled from Memphis again will bat 7th. Elsewhere, Kansas City visits Houston. Milwaukee already topped Cincinnati 5-4. This SportsCenter update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
I want to hit baseballs.
All of my successes depend on me.
You're ready to hit.
The hits just keep on coming.
And his first big league hit is a bullet up the middle.
All right, time for Beat the Streak here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Bradford Bruns and Donnie Fandango. And now, Corey, who joins us. Time to do Beat the Streak. What's up, Corey?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And as always, be safe this weekend, all right? Have fun.
Hey, you as well. Right back at you.
Thank you. All right, Bradford, do you have the updated standings?
Still efforting.
Still efforting those. Okay. I know I lost, so there's that. Corey, you're at 2, I think? Or 1?
1.
1, okay. Let's go with Jamie has Alec Burleson. Okay. All right, he texted me these. Jamie has Alec Burleson. Carey is taking Aaron Judge.
Okay.
I know Marsh didn't text in his, and I know my streak ended because I was an idiot and didn't take Luis Ariz. So, Corey, you can go now. So, Alec Burleson's off the board, and so is Aaron Judge. Who would you like?
All right. Well, in lieu of Labor Day being on Monday, I'm going to go with Mr. Glaber Day, Glaber Torres.
Oh, I like what you did there.
That was well done.
Did you have a backup just in case? Like somebody took Glaber Torres?
Maybe like Mason Wynn, probably.
Okay, but probably not the catchy Labor Day thing.
Nah.
Right? Yeah. Nah. I like that. All right.
As long as the Cardinals win. That's all.
Donnie, I'm going to let you go. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to take Mason Wynn.
Okay, well, yeah, man. That makes sense.
I mean,
sure. Yep. Good call.
Feels like an easy one. You know what I mean?
Sure. Bradford?
I'd like Mason to go yard. I established that earlier in the show, but Carey's usual guy, I listen, guys, I pay attention, has not been claimed as of yet. I think that Juan Soto gets some meatballs potentially to yank tonight. I don't love the matchup versus Fetty. I think he hangs 1 or 2, and even though Soto has actually been struggling as of late, he's 0 for his last 12, and he's 3 for his past 27. This seems like a prime opportunity for him to get right as the Cardinals avoid Aaron Judge more than anyone else.
All right, there you go. I'm going to go Jordan Walker. Why the hell not? Hey, he's up.
Welcome back.
Let's go.
Let's prove you should be here, buddy.
I think I took him in the home run derby, too. So that would...
Good pick.
Yeah, thank you. Double dip. It's a double dip. Marsh, since he didn't text us, we'll give him, how about Nolan Arenado? How about that? I'll give him Arenado. That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right, Corey, have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you too. Talk to you next week.
All right, thank you. There you go. That's Beat the Streak. Time for the biggest question of the day.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
Speaking of Jordan Walker batting 7th tonight and manning right field for the Redbirds, he's officially recalled earlier in the day. Gentlemen, Tommy Pham officially designated for assignment. So what changes? My question is, what changes this time around as opposed to back on August the 12th when Jordan was recalled and was relegated to platoon duty versus left-handers only? You're seeing him tonight against the right-hander ground ball pitcher Marcus Stroman. According to multiple reports, we know Allegedly, moving forward throughout the duration of September in this regular season, he will be playing on a daily basis. So what does that mean? Are the Cardinals going to be able to utilize him in the best fashion possible? What's different this time around?
What do you think, Donnie?
I mean, I don't know that there is anything different outside of him playing every day, which is what he should have been doing in the first damn place.
Right.
I mean, again, hope for the best, but I put this on Walker more than the team at this point because I just don't expect anything from them. I really don't.
Yeah. I think at this point, we've moved past when you acquired, I brought this up before, when you acquired Tommy Pham, you're still kind of like fans kind of knew you're done, but you still have a little bit of hope. Maybe you make a run.
Yeah.
And you had a little momentum. You traded for Eric Fetty, and then Pham came in that deal. So Pham no longer here. When you brought up Walker, that seemed clunky. Mo maybe just wanted to take advantage of the hot streak that Jordan Walker had in the minors and the fact that he also played outfield. So you had that mix going on. But Ollie just purely wanted to use him against lefties. So once Mo figured that out, he sent him right back down because you can't have the kid on the bench.
Right.
There seems to be an organizational, hey, we're going to play him now. We're going to play him the rest of the year. Let's roll. And since you have that commitment, I do think now that Pham's gone, you have the organization commitment. You actually have Mo and Ollie seemingly on the same page now. I do think this will be different this time around, and that Walker will play, barring injury.
I don't even need a carbon copy of last September's production. That would be fantastic. The 286 average, the 4 dingers, the 11 runs batted in, and there were some stretches when you can't necessarily say that Jordan Walker carried this offense, but he was a focal point. He was a focal point, whether that was hitting in the 6th, 7th, or 8th spot. You can lean on him for production, and he was a radically different ball player after being demoted the first time around. What I want to see, Donnie, much like you, the consistency. Last September's number of at-bats, plate appearances, 98 at-bats. I've already flipped that calendar, and I have already flipped in terms of looking toward the progress for 2025 and beyond. If Jordan Walker does not receive the identical number of at-bats or more, that is a criminal offense. He has to be out there each and every day. I don't care. Honestly, I want to see him in right as well. Leave him well enough alone. I don't care who's playing in center, frankly. Take your pick. Siani, Victor Scott II, I'd love to see the ladder's wheels, absolutely. But I want Jordan Walker in the outfield. I don't want to be messing around with him in a DH slot. He is an athlete. He has a cannon of an arm. Let him display his full arsenal of tools, or else.
Or else?
What?
Fear of federal indictments coming for Bradford Bruns.
Or just more multisyllabic words.
Yeah, that's fine. Either way, we like them all. All right, Bradford Bruns, Donnie Fandango, last segment coming up. We do have Bet the Board. Bet the Board's a little complicated these days. So we do this every single month where listeners can draft us, and they ride with our betting picks all month long, Donnie. Carey and I were battling for first place all month, okay? We were neck and neck, tied for most of it. You get one parlay where you can parlay some teams together. It's kind of a Hail Mary. If you want to use it, you can use it at any month or any time during the month. Well, Jamie hit an 8-team parlay the other night to completely send Bet the Board upside down.
Right.
So I'll explain the scenario and tell you my 5-leg parlay in order to try to win because today's the last day. That's next on 101 ESPN.
College football is back on ESPN. Tomorrow, Game 1, Penn State and West Virginia. Game 2, Hawaii and UCLA. Coverage starts tomorrow morning at 10:30. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN. Driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
All right, if you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com and your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Donnie, this is Donnie Fandango, 105.7 The Point in the Arch. Our sister stations here for Hubbard Radio. Man, this was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I thoroughly enjoyed everything.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It was
a
a
lot.
pleasure, man. It was an absolute pleasure. So thanks for coming in and doing your thing. And yeah, we're going to have you back for sure.
Please do. So. And if you ever need anybody to yell about the Cardinals or the Bills or the Blues, you know who to go to.
Yeah, Donnie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Come on.
In fact, there's always a qualifier, too. It's always like, I know if Donnie's listening and I say something negative about the Bills, Donnie, I apologize. You're just our resident Bills fan.
And I'll be driving somewhere and I'll hear it and go, come on, Stalter.
Jeez.
Come on, man.
Why are you doing this to me? All right, so I talked about this. We got a complicated bet the board situation. Okay. I'll try to be as brief as possible. This is the last day for bet the board.
Okay.
For the month. Jamie Rivers is in the lead because he put together an 8-leg parlay and he hit it. So he has 16 points. Carey has 14. I have 14. And Andrew Marsh has 10. All right. Jamie also had a game that was postponed. So if you have a game that's postponed, you get a pick added to the end of the month. Complicated, I know. Bottom line is, Jamie's up by 2 on me. His picks tonight are... These guys sent me you've got the text chain going here. Jamie's picks are the Rangers on the money line and the Red Sox on the money line. So those are his 2 picks. Carey has Juan Soto, 1.5 hits, runs, or RBIs. So Soto's got to get like a hit and a run, and he would win. Freddie Freeman, same deal, 1.5 hits, runs, or RBIs. So those Carey's 2 picks. I have not used my parlay bullet. Donnie, I have to assume that Jamie's going to hit his place. That would give him 4 points over me.
Okay.
I have to put together a 5-teamer. Okay?
All right.
It gets complicated.
All right, I got my pen.
Here is my 5-teamer. I'm going to go all foosball. Because why not? If I'm going down, I'm going down with football. Give me, and I can do weekend plays too, as much as it kills me, give me, because I'm a Central Michigan grad, give me the Western Michigan Broncos plus 24 tonight against Wisconsin as one of my picks. Wisconsin, I don't know, quite frankly, if their offense is any good. Western Michigan's returning most of their players. So I think Western Michigan covers the 24. I also like home dogs in prime time, not in prime time, but home dogs during the week. Stanford plus 8.5 tonight against TCU. So give me Stanford plus 8.5. That is also one of my selections. As we move into tomorrow, I think Georgia covers the 12 against Clemson. Number 1 team at home in Atlanta. I don't think Clemson, even though they should be ranked 14, I don't think they belong in the same field as Georgia. I'll probably eat those words in a couple of days. So that gives me 3. As much as I love Gator in the snake pit, I've been hyping up Miami for the past week now. So I'm going to put my bet the board play where my money is, or where my mouth is, excuse me, and take Miami minus 2.5. That gives me 4. And I told you guys I would be shocked if on Sunday night LSU and USC don't score 70-some-odd points. That total is at 64.5. I think it's criminally low. Give me the over 64.5 in that game.
That seems very reasonable on all 5.
I'll probably lose all 5.
All right.
I love it. Or it'll come down to that game on Sunday night, and I hit them all except for that one, and it'll be like
62.
Fourth quarter, they're running the clock. You know? One of those deals. So, again, tonight, Western Michigan plus 24, Stanford plus 8.5. Miami minus 2.5 tomorrow, Georgia minus the 12, and LSU and USC over 64.5.
There you go. You sniped the Georgia-Clemson pick. I will trend, though, in the direction of another one of your selections, Stalter, and not looking at the over-under per se, but LSU and USC. To me, the fact that LSU in this one, I know it's not in Baton Rouge, but only favored by 4.5. Listen, I'm a lot more bullish on LSU going into this season than many individuals are.
Fair.
But attacking seriously the USC defense, we know about all the problems that it experienced last season. I don't know if there's much in the way of reinforcements there. Welcome to the big time as far as opposing offenses trying to defend them if you're USC. To me, LSU actually wins that one by double digits. Whoa. And I'm looking at Notre Dame as well as Texas A&M. Brutal environment, at least it should be. Kyle Field there in College Station. Brutal conditions with the weather as well, but Notre Dame does enough along the offensive line to fend off that Texas A&M pass rush. I am picking Notre Dame to win straight up when the line actually favors those Aggies by 3.
Okay, there you go. Donnie, you can play if you want, but
I think, listen, if there is any particular section of the show that I do not know what I'm talking about, this is probably top notch.
Fair.
I'm just going to go ahead and agree with you guys and root for you, as a matter of fact, if that's all right.
See, you're just being a good team player. I like that, Donnie.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying
absolutely. I love it. All right, Bradford, what do you got for, well, you can do, pick your poison here. You could do 3 stars of the day, or you could do criticisms and compliments.
We have quite a few. Compliments, actually. Compliments.
Nice.
Wait for it. It's a Friday. Everybody's going into the Labor Day holiday.
Nice. Yeah,
they're excited, and they are very excited about the appearance, the debut here of one Donnie Fandango on the fast lane. FedEx Brian says, great show, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Donnie, terrific work, and I'll see you at Sammy tomorrow and Rob Zombie on Sunday. And from the 618,
Donnie says,
I'll
be there in spirit.
No, won't be there, but have a great time, guys.
Also from the 618, Donnie Rant-Dango was awesome.
Yeah,
period.
If you missed it, we played the audio in full from Greg Amsinger, who took Cardinals fans to task, and then Donnie left nothing of Greg Amsinger, and it was incredible.
That's what you would call total evisceration.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm not going to get mad again, but that was not a great thing for him to say.
It was.
I don't like that at all.
No.
Not even in the. All right, just go back and listen.
3 stars, Cliff Notes edition. Star number 3 goes to the second longest river in North America, the Mississippi River, which resulted in the win for Donnie.
That was huge for Donnie.
Gauntlet debut. Nice job by John as well. That was a good contest today in the random category. Star number 2 is awarded to the unidentified research assistant who informed the Cardinals brass, actually, that Jordan Walker has a higher career batting average against right-handed pitchers, which resulted in him being recalled from Memphis. He's in the lineup tonight. It's striking, actually. 22 points better throughout his career. Both last season, it's identical. 23 and 24, hitting righties versus lefties. Walker and the Cardinals, of course, going up against Marcus Stroman in about 8 minutes from the Bronx. And finally, our first star of the day. Not a huge surprise here. I will not hold you in any suspense. The text lines, the YouTube chat, everybody letting us know. Donnie Fandango, giving it up for him, and specifically that classic segment at the very top of the 5 o'clock hour. It's been a blast.
Thank you. I was throwing the T-shirts in the crowd like the Blues do after, when they're
of course. I love that. I love that.
I am a nerd, full on through and through.
No, you're a tremendous human being is what you are. Donnie Fandango, man, have a great weekend. Thank you so much. We appreciate
thank you, and I hope to be able to come back and do this again at some point soon.
No doubt. Bradford, does that do it for us there?
It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Bradford, thank you. Big time. Bradford, phenomenal on the mic and putting the show together for us. Thank you to everybody that listened, certainly throughout the course of the show or on the podcast. Have a safe weekend. Have fun. But like Donnie and I were talking about earlier, man, get yourself an Uber. Have fun, but be smart out there. So that'll do it for us. For Bradford Bruns, for Donnie Fandango, I'm Anthony Stalter. See ya.